Official here on Adobe, the FTC now on their website just confirming the probe into Adobe. They're looking at potential hidden fees related to software subscriptions. It's on the FTC website for Adobe, confirming your press report.
Hi everybody, Trini John from Simpler Trading.
Good evening, everybody. What's up, November? What's up, T-Robert? What's up, AA Mins? Getting started here in just a moment. What's up, Daryl? Bernardo, Arif, Ken. Starting in a moment.
Michael Dell in a CNBC interview just saying his company was built for this generative AI moment. 3-month bills draw 5.250% with 43.35% allotted at the high, bid to cover 2.93. 6-month bills draw 5.150% with 43.29% allotted at the high, and bid to cover of 2.82.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing? Happy Father's Day to all the fathers that were out there. This is my first Father's Day. Yes, get my coffee. Shake and look at the markets. Probably going to keep today's stream somewhat short and to the point. Check out some names. If you want me to pull up some of these random names, put them in the chat and we'll pull up some of those names. I'll go over some that are on my radar, give my thoughts on the markets, and go from there. First, we'll just kind of check in what's going on right now. Okay, the market's currently seeing a little bit of a bid outside of its opening range. S&P 500 has a couple zero-date levels to pay attention to today and a couple important gamma levels that I want to cover. The important gamma levels, as of right now, are going to be the 0-day at 54.55. That was some focus early in the morning, and then also 54.10, which is beneath us. As far as a net gamma perspective goes, some levels to keep in mind. 5,500 is the call wall, so traders have been reaching up here. It's more than possible to get up into this range. 5,400 is going to be our local support, okay? So there's basically three really big levels there. So 5,500, you got 5,400, and then right in between, which is at 5,450. Those, if you want to just look at kind of the distribution of how that looks, right here, 5,500, 5,450, 5,400. Okay, and we're kind of caught in between these two right now, right? So this one and this one. So the thought is if we can break from this, we can go to 5,500, but this is going to act right here as our local resistance and then our local support for the S&P 500. Now, overall, We're still above a rising 5-day moving average. We're currently outside a month-to-date expected move, and we're trying to break free from this little consolidation that we've been having, and it's really being led by tech names, right? So if I go into the heat map, if it'd be better to pull up like a week to date or even a month to date, but the move has been driven by these bigger market cap names, especially Apple. Apple's been on a monster tear, right? If we go to Apple, it's even seen some pretty good moves today. Had a huge breakout the prior week. It was like a 2.5 standard deviation move, pulled back a little bit, and we're having a little bit of follow through. And then Tesla's also catching a little bit of a bid today. Let me bring up Tesla. Tesla's been a little bit of a
tremendous demand for enterprise customers in Q1 continue into Q2.
Tesla's been having one of those kind of fake out, shake out type of moves where we're getting very tight. So we knew that the volatility was about to start expanding, and it did. It broke to the downside, then snapped to the upside, and came back down. And this is what happens when things get very tight. Either you get a very clean breakout, or you get some very quick shakeout type of moves before it actually starts its run up or run down, whichever way. But right now it's looking fairly strong, and it's holding above the 20-day, which is rising. The 50-day is starting to curl around. So this opens the door to 200 and potentially the even 200-day moving average as it stands right now. So Tesla looks pretty decent. Microsoft has hit a new high, all-time high today. A couple other names. Google's been in a tight consolidation, so this isn't necessarily bearish, right? Getting very, very tight right here. So it's looking to probably have a larger outsized move here in the very near future. Amazon's been chopping around sideways, but putting in higher lows into a prior area of supply. Meta also still holding up rather well. Broke out of this little consolidation after that bearish earnings gap, and now it's pulling in slightly here. But overall, just kind of going sideways in a range. Hey, good morning, Jalen. Morning, Tony. From what I saw, it seems like a fairly light week as far as macro data drops go. We have some auctions, right? Tomorrow we get some retail sales. We have some Fed talk. Not much there. We have building permits on Thursday. More auctions, more Fed talk, and then we also on Friday have S&P 500 like global manufacturing PMI. So we get some S&P global numbers, some PMI numbers. So I guess that would be the bigger thing on Friday. But on these light weeks, this is typically where the market can get kind of running, and we're seeing that so far right now. So I'd say target to the upside for the S&P 500 because the trend is still up would be potentially even up to the 5,500, the call wall. Okay. But the first area that we really need to overcome is that 5,450. Now, as this has been happening, we were well aware that there's been a lot of bifurcation, right? A lot of the small, like stocks, like for example, we can look at something like the IWM, right? The IWM has been going down, right? So this is what I mean by bifurcation is you think that in a healthy bull market, you'd want more names participating, but that just really hasn't been the case. It's really been led by tech stocks, by few names, by semiconductors and stuff. Now, even today, which I find interesting, is tech is leading the way. XLI, XLY, and XLK. So XLY, it's also, if we take a look here at the, go analyze, you have your biggest holdings is Amazon and Tesla, right? In XLY, so tech and then that. But this one's also kind of breaking out of this downtrend. That's the leading sector. Then industrials is also kind of floating around. We talked about this on the last market brief. Still floating around in this little area right here. It broke down. Now it's kind of trying to break back up. I think XLI is actually still a decent trade here. I was looking at one FDX. FDX is one that I posted out on the Patreon group in Trade Ideas just the other day. And it's potentially in an area where it could bounce. I've tried playing FDX a few times or a couple of times. I think right here on this breakout, and then it came out, and then I think I tried it again over here, and it came back in. And now I'm looking at it again as it's kind of building this base. Now, be aware that there's earnings around the corner. So, you know, you have earnings, which will obviously move the name. That's June 25th. If I go to the trade tab and we look out to that date, you're looking at probably roughly about an $18 to $19 expected move for earnings as it stands right now. So this thing could be, you know, wipe back up to 267, or it can snap, you know, pretty significantly down to, you know, 230-ish range. So the 10-year yield's up on the day, and you typically have a negative correlation in the markets. That's not really seeming to be the issue right now because of Apple and Microsoft holding up, but you do have Nvidia, Google, Amazon, Meta that are currently just down to unchanged, rather. Amazon's the one that's down about, you know, 1% or so. Then XLK right now is at a new I believe it's a new all-time high for XLK as well today. You take a look at Dow Jones or like the diamonds. This one's also, you can see that we're, you know, well off the highs, and it's kind of just been going sideways. So this is what I mean by the whole bifurcation. You could look at like small caps. You can look at equal weight. You know, people have been talking about bad breath, bifurcation in the markets. And here's kind of how I kind of process that and go through it. A lot of people might see that, and they'll go, okay, well, then I'm just going to short the market. Well, the market's still in an uptrend, right? So you have to be very selective on what it is that you're actually shorting. And a lot of the names have been going down. So if you start shorting the weak names, right, you could potentially be, you know, walking into one of those bounces, you know, face ripping rally. So for example, if I pull up IWM, you're like, well, okay, I'll short IWM right now, and then I'll long tech, okay, or something like that, because tech's been, you know, going straight up, IWM's been making straight down. Well, now it's sitting at a rough, you know, pretty significant low here. So yeah, there's definitely probability we can come down, test the 200-day. But if you go short in the hole, which this I would consider more short in the hole, you can see that we have a positive divergence forming there on the 15-minute chart. It is below the 5-day moving average. I traded this into this 5-day moving average, and then I got stepped out this day for a small loss on the remaining profits, but a little gain right there. And now it's doing the same thing, right? You're building out a positive divergence. So it's potentially, you know, something that I would look to maybe short on a bounce if that was actually the case, and follow the trend down.
Paris, France,
okay, but when we have this crazy bifurcation in the markets going on, I'll look at like the SPY, right? And I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, I'm going to go short right here. It's just not going to be the case. So what I do is I continue to play the trend to the upside. I'll look for names that are in positive trends, and we'll go over some of those names. And what I'll do is I'll just keep an eye on the 5-day moving average. If it's still trending up, I think everything's all healthy. And if we're as long as we're holding the gamma flip line too as well, which is down here at 53.70, I think all things are healthy. With that said, in terms of where we are with gamma, I think it's going to be a big pin. Like the market's just going to kind of bounce around this 100-point range for a while here. And the reason why I think a while is because it's only June 17th, so it's into summer, middle of the month, and in just a few short days, right, and short, you know, since the start of the month, we already reached our upper monthly expected move. And if it's anything like last month, yeah, we continued higher, but then towards the end of the month, we came right back in. So I think we'll just be kind of doodling around, right? We might get more excited, and then we might come right back in, and it might just be one of those things where we kind of just pin around before a stronger move. So I think it might be smart to look at some seasonality, see how things work, just to give us more context. So if I look at SPX seasonality, you can see here, seasonality kind of broke, but it's been following for, you know, somewhat. So it started off pretty clear right here to start, right? The darker blue line is the last 5 years, and then the green line is this year. And you can see this typically seasonality, you get seasonal weakness over here. It continued straight up, and then it kind of came in, and then we started moving up, saw a little bit of a pull. It's following it to an extent, right? We're starting to see it move up here. We're seeing it move up here. But then in a little while, we kind of just go through this flattening season. You see what I'm saying? Like it's kind of just goes sideways right here for a while. And I think, you know, if we're pulling this forward a little bit, that could be something that we might be running into here in the near future. And I think that's kind of my thought process there. Now, just because it's my thought process, if the market wants to continue to move up higher, if it wants to keep doing its own thing, well, obviously we gotta just react to what the market's doing, right? We can go over a bunch of narratives, act super confident, this is gonna happen, that's gonna happen, but in reality, if it's not happening, well, then just do what the market's doing and trade with the market, right? Good morning, EJ. Moonraker and his iPads. Why did you get 3 iPads, Moonraker? That's so funny. Just got hella screens for days. We'll take a look at some here. These chats. Hey, what's up? What's up, guys? What's up, Samson? What's up, Victor? What's up, Snowman? Hope everyone's doing good. Had a good weekend. Pull up some names. I was interested in this one in the morning. I wasn't prepared for it to take off, but SIMO was one of the names. So we'll go into a couple of names. It's still maybe gearing up here, but I really like this little flag. This was part of the tight list. If you're in the Discord, you would have saw that this weekend. But you had higher lows building up into this area of resistance, and you had a nice consolidation here. So SIMO, I think that this is more thinly traded, less volume, right? So if I go into the smaller time frames, like the 1 minute or whatever, you can see it's pretty choppy. So these type of names, just make sure you're paying attention to what the bid ask spread is. It's about a 20-cent spread. So it's probably better to do limit orders, in these type of names. But we saw a nice breakout this morning, and we're kind of just coming right back in here.
Order in Europe valued at about 670 million euro. Alpha Lima Oscar trading in Paris.
I currently have a couple of positions on. I have one in CELH. I actually added a little bit today. This is for looking for a counter trend bounce, right? So it's definitely bearish, right? So that's why I say counter trend bounce. But we had this double top, and the double top was confirmed on the break of this neckline. Okay, and then we had a pretty strong flush. Now, the reason why I'm looking for a counter trend bounce in something like this is because the extent at which it fell. Typically, when you get these very exaggerated moves, you can potentially see a bounce. But how do I approach something like this? Well, I go smaller position sizes, right? So I start off very, very small because I'm well aware things could get, dragged down more. And then if I find it necessary, I can add a little bit more. And when I look for adding more, I look for pretty extended areas like on the RSI in the 15-minute time frame. And I try to see if we have some sort of positive divergence forming and so forth. So this is more of a counter trend bet, small position for bounce potentially back up to the 200-day moving average or to this prior neckline break right over here. So that's one trade that I have on, and I think that if it takes out the low of today's trading session, I'll get out and I'll look to reset it up if necessary. I gotta just kind of play it by ear and see how that goes. But I'm in that one. I'm kind of interested in BYON too as well. I'm looking at some names that have been getting just completely smashed right now for a potential rotation back. Because things are getting pretty extended on both sides. You have tech that's getting very extended, various semiconductors getting very extended onto the upside. So it doesn't make it the best, time to buy it until you see some sort of consolidation, digestion. And then you have some small caps that are getting just completely smashed, right? Which could be very well due for a potential bounce in the near. So when you take counter trend bets, the position sizing is most important, right? Being right or wrong doesn't really necessarily matter. It's the position sizing that you enter into names such as these, because you're going up against a lot of selling or a lot of buying Okay. Oh yeah. CELH is a disgusting looking chart.
May traffic at 9.1
for the long side. It's just also it's kind of disgusting for a short side too, right? So if you look at CELH, like who would short right here? Right? Yeah, you can see some more sell side, that's for sure. But why would you short into the hole right here? You would rather look to see, a bounce and then get confirmed weakness or something like that and short down through that, right? Have these moving averages start to come down more and so forth. But executing a new position as a short wouldn't be the area to do it. And that's why that when I look at these type of setups or counter trend bets, that's what I always think about. It's like, okay, would I go short right here? Probably not. Okay. So would I counter trend bet it? Well, it's been on a very extended move to the downside. I guess that can be on the radar for it, right? I'm just looking for little in the counter trend bets. Once again, these are smaller size positions because you are going up against the trend. All right. Let's go over some of these names here. AGX. This has been very strong, right? Strong like bull, right? 20 days up, 50 days up, 200 days up, right? These names right here typically means strong stocks get stronger. Now it's been on a monster run already, but to note, we had earnings. It was a bullish earnings move, and now it's been consolidating that. So to take out the 78.95 seems likely. It's getting pretty tight. We had a little bit of a shakeout right there, and it came back and recovered. Going to the 15-minute time frame, it's obviously more thinly traded, but you can see it's been kind of going sideways and is holding currently above that 5-day moving average. So that's one that's on the radar. Is it executable now? Maybe, if it's your style of trade. Me personally, I like things that are, I like if it was to pull in a little bit further and let the 20-day come in. That would be my kind of style. But nonetheless, a good-looking chart, so it could be something to have at least on the radar. This is a more popular name, VRSK. So VRSK had earnings over here. This is what I mean by a bullish earnings gap. And then we had follow through, a little pullback, and now it's been consolidating right here at these highs. So I like the little tight consolidation taking place here. I think we just had the dividends coming recently there. And we recently broke out of this kind of prior area, right? So we got hung up there, we pulled out. So once again, I don't know if it's executable in this current moment, but nevertheless, it is still consolidating. So it's a good looking chart to have at least on the radar. One that has pulled in a little bit and been consolidating, it's also a bigger name, would be Walmart. And Walmart obviously made a big move on earnings too as well and had that follow through. Okay, so on Walmart, it's a consumer staple name. You can see here that we're kind of going sideways as the moving averages are catching up. So another name to potentially keep an eye on, because like I said, strong stocks can get stronger. You don't need to play it up to 74, 75, but as it stands right now, you would think that if buying begets buying, right? If the trend's going to continue, we can easily take out that 67.57 high there in Walmart. Six Flags was one that we talked about a while ago, and Six Flags did see the breakout. So not only did somebody else mention it on stream, but this has also been on the tight list for a while down here. And this is what I mean by when stocks contract, you can have an expansionary move. It's nice follow through, big volume that came through. And now what? Now what are we doing? We're consolidating again here. Could be gearing up for another move, right? So this is a long base breakout right here. Now it's getting, probably more eyes are on it. Obviously more volume. We had a huge volume day right here, and now it's consolidating sideways. So this thing, I would like to see it a couple of more days, right? So 3 days consolidated, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe around there, have these moving averages catch up. That's what I would like to see. But what I like to see typically doesn't happen, right? So I would keep this on the radar for a potential push higher there too as well. Okay. These are just some of the names that have been holding up pretty decently during all of this kind of, these moves. Here's MUSA, Murphy USA. We broke out of this space, saw some nice volume on this breakout, and now we're consolidating sideways, flagging out here too as well. So another name that we can potentially have breakout continuation watch. Okay, so there was a lot of names that we went over at the beginning, or a couple of names that we went over at the beginning that are very, very, counter trend bets, and now we're looking at names that are showing strength and could have continuation, things that are digesting and might follow through again. Chris Johnson is asking about Dell. Yes, I played Dell and I already got out. It was a very quick shot right into the 20-day. So once again, now this doesn't mean this is the right way to do it. This isn't the right way, but so this was a big bearish earnings gap, right? Then price got tight, and my goal was to get up into this range or to around the 20-day moving average. So I just got out today, pretty much right here at not quite the high, a little bit lower than that. But But that's just my style. It's a little bit more aggressive. I'll just get out, get in. But what could have happened was just put a stop on the low of the day and then trail it up and go to break even and move from there. I just didn't, because it wasn't like a crazy size position or anything like that. So if I cut it in half, it just wasn't going to mean much to me, right? So I just figured I'd just clean up my screen. So depending on how you size into this position, how you put yourself into it, you'd always consider like, okay, maybe I can update my stop, maybe to break even, or just, you know, or whatever the case is, still hold it where it's at and you think it's going to come fill this gap. You can be more than right. But nice contraction. We played the breakout. It was up, what, 4 or 5% on a very quick move. I like that. And it's still holding up rather well. Okay, so just because I got out doesn't mean I won't be getting back in. But I clipped my profits right there. Why is CELH dropping? I mean, probably dropping because it went up so much. But yeah, I talked about CELH a little bit ago, JB. But yeah, I'd be looking for a potential move back into that. That's what I'm looking for. So I started off pretty small on this day right here, and then it came in a little bit. And today I added a little bit. So I'm looking for the bounce. I'm watching for it, and I started the position like I said, playing counter trend bets allows me to do this. I can build into a position. It's hard to time the bottoms, hard to time the tops. Every once in a while you nail it, but that's pretty much, in my opinion, just kind of sheer luck. ARM, yeah, ARM was looking very good right here. So this is another thing. So this is why we look at periods of contraction, right? So ARM, right, was very tight right here. Got, consolidated. We saw a breakout, and this breakout came on big volume. So this is why I look at periods of consolidation, right? Periods of consolidation led to a very strong breakout. So yeah, is it stretched into this prior high? Yeah, I would say so. Now you wait for consolidation. I wouldn't be buying right here, right? There'd be no point. Even if it goes up to 170, I wouldn't care, because if it comes up to 170 and then consolidates, I'd still rather take on smaller amount of risk like this to play it up, versus right here to maybe get up there or maybe fall back down to the 20. It's too hard to say. But overall, it's holding up rather well today. Intraday, it's below its opening range. So if you are in it, it would be better to see this thing above 160.6. Win. Yeah, we'll pull up Win. Let's see. I haven't seen Win for a minute. Win. So right off the bat, right? So would I short here? No. Would I look for a counter trend bet? Maybe. It's not that dramatic of a move, but it is kind of getting there. If I go to the 15-minute time frame, it might give me a little bit clearer of a picture. Yeah, you have this positive divergence in both the price momentum oscillator and the RSI. Lower lows there on the price action, but we kind of bounced from that already. Declining 5-day moving average, and you can see it's actually following and tracking that quite well. Now, when we get pretty extended from it, you can see it move back, but does that mean we're back above the 5-day moving average? Does that mean it's rising? No. So a counter trend bet in this too, also, you got to be a little bit more aware, about the shorter term trend. The easiest way to approach this, if you're not a counter trend bettor, is wait for the trend to turn around, right? Just be patient for it, because it will eventually get back above a rising 5-day moving average, or above the 5-day moving average. It will eventually start turning back up. And whether that's a longer term move or a shorter term, we don't know. But it's always better to wait for it to flatten out to start turning back up and trade with the trend. It makes it significantly easier, and it allows you to put on a little bit more size. Now, if you were, why I said wouldn't short here is because, maybe if it came into the 5-day moving average and then it started coming in and then breaking, right? These are the type of short, levels that you would look to short, was when you see the lower high, lower lows start to break and follow through to the downside. But I wouldn't short into those holes. Going to go over a couple more names. I'm just trying to see if anything's really straight up setting up right now. there's a couple of names, even Kava. Even Kava looks pretty good. It's just a lot of these names have moved far and fast, but Kava right here, you can see it's kind of holding up. We had the earnings move, boom, it's consolidating. So Kava looks like it can go strike for 100 here in the near future, right? Like I said, strong stocks get stronger. This is a pretty newer name, but it's trending up. It's holding up rather well. It's getting tight right here in the last 4 days. So a target of 100, like that psychological level, it could go higher, obviously, but it could take a while to get there. But I like the consolidation happening there in Kava. Strong. The earnings move was a little weird because it gapped down and then closed at the highs. Then we had follow through to the upside. So, it looked like it was going to be taken out for a little bit, but it recovered quickly. And we're still holding above the earnings day. Right? The earnings high was right here, and we're currently holding above it. So, Kava looks fine in this current moment. What also looked good was like Burlington Coat Factory, right? Some of these retail names have been looking pretty good. Burlington Coat Factory had a big earnings move, and then it's been consolidating, kind of flagging out here. So this one, yeah, strong stocks typically get stronger. Will probably take out 243.64. This could be another one to watch for a potential continuation. This one can go through periods of consolidation for quite some time. So just be aware of that. Like right here, it just went sideways, like pretty much stagnant for a while. Then it shot up, then it came back down. But after an earnings move, now it's pulling in a little bit. The moving averages start to catch up. And I like how it's pulling back too. It's kind of, more of a flag pattern. Home Depot did the same thing. Home Depot, right? So Home Depot could be potentially called a double bottom, right? So we pulled into this 200-day moving average, and take a look here. So we, potential double bottom right here, and it would be confirmed technically on a break of this neckline. And what you're seeing here, this was an earnings move. I don't know what caused this. I thought that was earnings. What you're seeing here is this gap up and now a consolidation underneath that 350 pivot for Home Depot. And while that's happening, you have a 200-day that's flattening to inclining. We're back above the 50-day. It started to flatten out. The 20-day is kind of flattening out here too as well. So, a couple of more days of sideways price action here. I would probably strike it and try to get above 350. And what you'd look for is a break or, a measured move. Potentially like a measured move would just be double that consolidation. That would be the measured move of a double bottom. So maybe up, $20 per share or so higher. Just a very weird market. All right. So I'm trying to look for just random names here, but just got to be careful because the market continues to press higher on a few names. But the problem here is this is where it gets interesting, okay? The market leaders that are leading this market are the larger market cap stocks. The problem here is if those start falling, you may see a rotation into smaller names or the names that have been beaten down, or if they start coming in, you get selling that begets selling, and then all of a sudden it starts taking out everything with it. If that is the case, that means that the market's going to get oversold very, very quickly. So the next little pullback might be literally a few percentage points.
Raised their gold holdings by 10
before it's all like super oversold conditions, because the majority of the market has been selling off. It has been diverging.
Tons.
It's pretty wild. So somewhat of a frustrating market. You just got to be in the names that are working. So we talked about Home Depot. We talked about another Burlington Coat Factory. A Gap is another one that kind of looked similar, right? We had this big earnings move, and then it's been consolidating and flagging right here. So this to me also looks like it could try to come right back up to about $30 right around here. Okay. You have a nice move. You have the consolidation. The consolidation takes place on lighter volume as it's pulling into back a rising 20-day moving average. So these names to me look
write-offs were
healthy.
2.4%.
Right? And if you want to do a measure move of this, it would just be a flag breakout, right? It would just, maybe 35, or you can play it to the swing high right here. And then it allows you to have pretty well-managed risk, right, if you go long. So even this name right here, Gap, right? Who would have thought, right? And then Foot Locker was one I talked about the other day on the end of the market brief show. I still like this one too. Also, big earnings move. This one's been flagging, consolidating, pulled in a little bit more, and it's underneath, obviously, the 200-day, the 20-day, but it's pulling into the 50. So personally, on this one, I would like to see, so even I said it, I think on this day when I recorded, is I'd like to see the strength or the breakout. But if you want to do a small position, right? If I wanted to do a small position, I would just get out if it broke this low, and then I'd look to re-enter back on strength, right? I didn't trade it, but now looking at it, right? If I wanted to do it again, I'd be like, okay, I'll take a small position. I'll have a stop underneath the 50-day. And then if I get stopped out, whatever. If I don't get stopped out, I'd look to actually add to the position if it starts breaking back above the 200-day, back above the 20-day. So Foot Locker looks good too. It's like, it's just, and look at the volume, right? So you get a strong move up. Price pulls in nice and calm, nothing crazy. It's like almost coming in to fill this gap, right? This gap fill. And it's doing so on just light volume. So, sorry, what did I say? I said this was Foot Locker. Or I thought maybe I said it was Gap. So that's another one, another good looking name, right? Another retailer that's pulling in, Deck. Look at Deck. This to me looks like it's probably a Holy Grail setup. The Holy Grail, for those that don't know, actually I'll tell you right now if it's a Holy Grail setup or not. This is a, wait, what the? Yeah, this is a Holy Grail setup. Okay, so the Holy Grail setup is from a book called Street Smarts. Don't get it confused. It's a joke on the name. It's a play on the, like, okay, there's no such thing as a Holy Grail in trading, but I'll give you the strategy. If you want to watch the YouTube video that I made on the Holy Grail setup, it's 65 seconds long or 60 seconds long. From a book called Street Smarts. Very simple trading strategy. You have to have an ADX that's above, I believe, 35. Check, okay? Then price has made an advance, right? A rising ADX means it's a positive trend, right? So you have strength in this trend. And then you look for a pullback into the 20-period EMA. Bam, we got the pullback into the 20 EMA. So now how do you trade it, Mike? Okay, so you don't necessarily go in long right now. What you do is you wait for the high of the prior trading session to get taken out. When it gets taken out, so the high today, for example, was 1028.92. So we'll just call it 1030, okay? Okay, so if 1030 got taken out tomorrow, then you would have a stop underneath the prior swing low and you would trade it into here. So your risk would be here, your reward, right, would be here. And that doesn't mean you have to get out right here, but you would trail your stop up, right? Move it up maybe to the low of each trading day. And then if you feel confident that it's going to continue through, you can maybe take partial profits or whatever the case is. But here's the Holy Grail setup, right? And I have a way of scanning for these two. I'm not going to get into on this episode, but Deck is there. Deck is strong. We'll go into some of these markets because I know that people are asking me about Qs and so forth and stuff like that. So yeah, and we can see some names coming in here. Pizza in the oven today, PZZA. Is that Papa John's? Oh yeah, look at that, Papa John's. Very bad trend, but it's been kind of consolidating here slightly. Yeah, it's pretty strong move there. I don't know what's going on there. Domino's, if we're talking pizza, Domino's is the one that's been like ridiculous. This name has always been crazy, but look at how this on the weekly time frame, right? This big old cup. It'd be cool if it handles out for a long time here, but even on the daily time frame, you had this nice consolidation, another one, and now it's pulling back. Domino's has just been a beast. If you invested $10,000 in Domino's in 2001, you'd be a multimillionaire. I don't know if that's true, but that's those things that everyone says, right? If only you did this. All right, let's go to Qs. Qs at a new all-time high. All-time high. That's a long time. It's been a long time. Somebody had mentioned the Bollinger Band. It's outside of it. Yeah, so things are crazy right now, right? And when things get crazy, things could remain crazy for a while. Does that mean you go short? So this is what I want to go back to of what I was saying earlier. And by the way, look at how it's kind of above it, right? This was actually contracting, then now it's expanding, right? So it's actually moving through it, but it's also kind of in this expansionary type of move right now. Okay. I'll move the Bollinger Bands and I'll show you. I like using my the zone. Well, technically it's called the bridge bands, but I call it the zone document, and I just have it saved on here as the zones. But we're right there towards the upper range of those zones too. Technically, so today's upper zone would be what, 482.35, somewhere right around here, which we're kind of right above. It's dynamic, so it'll always change. So I use the day prior. But yeah, so frothy can remain frothy for a while. Is it going to pull in? Yeah. Does that mean you short right here? The problem here is if the trend is up, it's easier to trade with it to the upside, and then when it starts failing, to get out. That's the easier thing to do. If you start going short here, then all of a sudden it goes up, it's like, okay, now like you're just fighting the trend. So are you going to add? Or are you going to just let it go? When are you going to get out? I don't know. So that's the problem here is of shorting too early or going long too early. Like I said in my CELH trade, right? How I approach it, how I personally approach it is if I'm going up against a trend and I think that we're going to see a counter trend move, it's going to be a smaller position. Now, if it's a counter trend move and I'm shorting into it, it's even a smaller position because I already, from the short side, trade a lot less size. But yeah, this thing's been just grinding up. So what happens, right? We take the stairs up, and it's probably going to take an elevator move down. And when's that going to be? I don't know, but it'll probably be a very quick move. It's probably going to scare a lot of people. And then what's going to happen? It's probably going to do this. It's going to go up. It's going to snap. Oh, there it is. There it's over. And then it's going to go right back up. To where, right? Well, I'm looking at the gamma chart still. And like I said earlier, these are the levels to watch, right? 54.50, 54.55, right? So today is 54.55. That's where traders were focused in on for the S&P 500. If we can get through these levels, I mean, 5,500 seems like in striking distance, right? And that's the call wall. Now, getting through this is why I said, like, I think we're just going to kind of pin out, just kind of stay stagnant within a 100-point, maybe 50-point range, is because these are the gamma levels. I'm not just saying that because it's my thought. It's just because that's how gamma is set up right now. Now, a break of 5,400, watch out. That's currently holding as support in positive gamma. So people are looking to buy the dip. It's simple as that. But buy the dip, sell the rip. Does that mean buy right here? Probably not, right? Can you get lucky and goes up? Yeah, absolutely. But I would look at other tech names that maybe might have the follow through, right? Or might have more of an opportunity than just getting into the index products right now. I think it's more of a stock picker type of environment. Just being tactical around that. IWM, right? So my thought process here is still we're going to probably see a bounce in IWM. So I like the idea of a long position in IWM, but very short term, not like up to here, not even up to like the upper end of this zone. Let me get rid of this. Right. The reason why I say I like the idea for a bounce is because it's sold off. And, why did it sell off? Well, because it bounced up, right? Why would it bounce? Well, because it sold off. So, it bounced back up into the 50-day or this line. This is kind of where I was kind of eyeing in on this 201, 201.90, 202. And if I extend this to the right, extend to the left, you can see that this level has been quite interesting, right? So not only has it been acting as supply there and almost there, but even if I zoom in IWM, it's been in this range, right? This range, we get to the higher end, we come back in, but just take a look, like it's held as support, right? And then instead of like acting as support here, it broke down through it and then acted as resistance. And then we couldn't get through that in the cash market session, so it gapped above it. And then it held as support, right? It held as support, okay? And then what did it do? It gapped beneath it, it closed at it, and then it couldn't get above in the cash session, so it gapped way above it. And then we closed at it again over here. So this level, it just feels like a kind of a pinning area for the market. So a bounce potentially back into this area could make sense. And then I'd say, okay, now maybe, if you're a strategic shorter, if you want to look to short, see how it responds in that area, what the 5-day moving average is doing, and then kind of go from there. But right now, yeah, you have a positive divergence. So a play back up into the 5-day moving average, or this point of control. Look at the point of control in the last 10 days. It's exactly where my white line is. It's at 202. There you go. Okay. S&P 500 still cranking up. We're coming into that 54.50 level. The last time we were here was on the 12th, and we tagged it to the penny on live stream, and we said watch out for that, and it reversed itself completely That 30-minute candle, sorry, I'm looking at 65-minute chart. Let me go back to the 30-minute chart. My bad. Okay, reversed it on that, and then we tried to get back up. It acted as resistance, it pressed away, and now we're seeing a strong move back here. So is today's move pretty much toast? Like, is it to the end? I mean, I think that we have, I think we could still come up into and around this area. I think that's a possibility, but I think we might get paused out for the day up in these areas. Okay, so also the daily expected move for the SPY is at 545.65. We're still above the upper monthly. And then the weekly expected move, for those that want to know, 549.42, and the lower is 536.14. Luke has some decent names here. Best Buy was one that I definitely had on the radar. So Best Buy, I still haven't had a position, but Best Buy had a nice flag pattern that we broke out of today, and now we're sitting at about the highs of the day. So am I going to chase it up here? No, I wasn't really prepared for this move today. But we had a strong move on earnings, consolidated, and we're getting some follow through. So yeah, good looking name. Now, like I said, I don't chase it. Now I'd wait for the more of a pullback, consolidation, so forth. But if you're in the name, it's in my opinion, it's more of a hold now. With a nice stop. Wherever you find necessary, maybe right here, maybe even here, depending on where you entered. I don't know. This would be more my style. And then it'd just be a hold and see where it goes. And then I'd look to add if it consolidates. But if this is going to be a flag pattern kind of move, I mean, we're talking potentially up to 100 for a measured move there.
Reportedly, they're Dacia expecting revenue from that unit to double between 2022 and 2030.
Hey, what's up, Makensky? Yeah, I can check that out.
And this is expected to be driven half by volume and half by mix. Renault commenting on their Dacia business, saying fixed costs are expected to increase slightly over the same period.
Yeah, we'll pull up those names. Yeah, KVUE, that's a WP, pull up KVUE. That's actually a name that I like. I haven't seen the chart for a while. I've traded it a few times. So KSPI, oh yeah, I remember we looked at this one the other day on live. I think it's still holding up rather well, right? We saw a strong move, and now we're still tightening up here on the right side. You can see higher lows being formed, and then we're still kind of coiling up in this area. The 20-day is rising. The 50-day is pulling in a little bit. So, if it comes in, I wouldn't necessarily worry too much. I think, let me see what 50 days ago looks like. 50 bars ago. So it's averaging basically okay. So in like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days or so, after 6 days, it's going to start averaging this data and forward. So this to me will start flattening out to turning back up again, which would be a little bit more positive. As it's pulling in, it's just telling us that, the last 50 days, it's rather neutral to coming in a little bit. So if it pulls in more, but yet, we get rid of this data, it'll start flattening out and turning back up. And that to me looks kind of positive. So as it stands right now, it's still 130 is kind of that level that it's getting hung up on. And I would still look forward to I would like to see it tighten up a little bit more and then a move like that. But overall, I mean, it's holding up pretty well, right? And it's giving us a clear idea as far as risk goes, right? You have your risk probably right around here, or even this prior swing low, right? Just depend on how you want to approach it or how you want to structure the trade. KVUE has seen some strength today. Back into kind of this area though, right? So we broke down these areas of support. Once broken, can become a level of resistance, and the trend is pretty bearish. So can it have some more follow through? Maybe, but just understand that it could take a while to heal that type of trade. Let's look at the weekly time frame. I mean, you'd definitely be kind of looking for one of those. It'd be one of those names where you're trying to buy, you'd be buying in a poor trend. But there are some signs, right? So you see a positive divergence in the MACD and so forth. But it might take a long time, right? So we come back up to $20. It's still declining, and then comes in a little bit, goes back up, maybe comes in, and does something crazy. But if that is the case, it could take a while for it to start actually changing its current trend on the weekly time frame. But don't rule it out. Definitely a possibility. I know that and then you can see right here, see how it's holding the 200-day? It's kind of been just following the trend down lower, right? So it's gonna take a while to heal that. Even on a smart move, like it'll still consolidate and set back up. I like the idea of just keeping this on the radar for a potential move. But like right, if I bought right here in a bad trend after a strong move, I'd just be nail biting. Like I'd just be always watching the position. I'd be like, ugh. Rost, R-O-S-T. There you go. Yeah. So a lot of these names, man, a lot of these retailer names, they've been holding up, right? So here's another example, right? We've talked about a lot of retail names. So powerful earnings gap. I don't even know. Like this, I guess you can call it consolidation, a very weird one, a little sloppy and choppy. And then as we're getting some follow through on that today.
The S&P and the Nasdaq all in positive territory. The Russell 2000 trading lower by about 1/3%.
That bifurcation still growing.
17 in the S&P minis.
The bifurcation still taking place, but we're seeing at least a little bit of move here in IWM. Nothing crazy while the markets are sitting here at highs of the day.
2-year up a handful of basis points back to 4 3/4%.
All right, we're pulling into 54.50 here, people.
Brazil
So
Finance Minister Haddad saying
this zone here,
balance fiscal accounts.
This zone
President Lula's agenda
is to watch for, right, for the day. We'll check to see if it changed at all. That would be the resistance kind of zone after a strong move can get held up at. Let me, how do I change the color here? I'll just make it red. Now, if we start getting above that and holding it, yeah, like I said, it makes it more possible that we come up into those, that, what's it called, level 5,500. We're in a contract roll too this week, just so everyone knows. The market didn't gap up like crazy. It was just contract rolls going from the M24 to the U24 if you're looking at ES and stuff. So this one right here is EU24. I'm looking at EU2. So if the number's different on your screen, you might be looking at the contract that's expiring. If you look at continuous contract, it always uses the front month. So if that's the case and you don't adjust for contract changes, what's going to happen is it's going to look like you had a gap up today. Which I don't know if we had. Like, do we have a gap up today? I mean, not really, but it would make a big significant difference. It would look like a big significant difference. Reason for that is just while the roll is happening, there's carry cost. Okay, cost to carry. Thanks, Loves That Match. Yeah, in the background, that is my Trade the News. It's a news feed, live news feed. We'll pull up some of these other names here. We got VFC, AAP, Disney. Yeah, AAP was one that I was definitely watching there too as well. Not Apple, AAP. Oh, no, it wasn't AAP that I was watching. My bad. Advanced Auto Parts. I don't really have too much of an opinion on this one. It's, you know, like I said, it's just, it hasn't really gone anywhere all year. We saw a nice move, and then it just comes right back into the 200-day. I think that if we have more upside, I think it's still going to take more time. It's not really a strong trend, right? Clearly, because it's neutral. So in these neutral trends, this is where you get a lot of chop. You can play ranges and so forth, but you might just kind of get stuck in position. So you got to be very tactical on where you get in, where you get out, so you're not just caught up in a trade. The short term's clearly bearish. The medium term's bearish. The longer term's starting to flatten out. And we're just kind of pulling back into this area right here, right? So you had all this price action here. We broke above it. All this price action a little there. Boom, we broke above it. Now we're pulling back in right in those areas. So if you are long, I mean, I guess a stop that would make sense would be right here, you know, right around 60. You know, if it starts breaking down there, then, you know, yeah, it could very well head lower. That would be the follow through. Yeah, IP has a nice bull flag. This one's been strong. Nice consolidation there. Yeah, that's been looking pretty clean. VFC. What's this VFC? I'm not familiar with this one. Is it like a lower, like a? It has decent volume. This one, I mean, is tightening up right here. Tightening up right here on this side. The 20 days picking up. The 50 days starting to flatten out. So I like the consolidation here. It's in bearish context. So when it's in bearish context like this, if I trade these type of names, it's going to be smaller positions, a little bit quicker in and out, you know, tight stops and so forth. Saw a nice recovery today. So Yeah, I mean, it's not a horrible look. I think it's setting up for a potential trade. At least it's offering up a good risk to reward here. What is GLW? Corning. Another strong name. I wouldn't, if you're in it, I think you're safe, but to start a position right here, you know, you can definitely have the follow through, but once again, the trend is strong, but I just don't like entering like I wouldn't like entering a new position right here, right? I'd prefer to see it come in a little bit, right? Even here, it pulled in, right? And so forth. Like deck, right? I was talking about deck earlier, right? Look at it, it's at the highs of the trading session today. This is a very clean setup, right? It pulled in on what? Pretty nice volume, lower volume, right? Earnings move, right? Consolidating, pulling in, you know, multiple days. That's the consolidations that I look for. And then I look to see if it can break the high of the prior trading session or whatever, and then have a stop at the low and then see if we can get some follow through to the upside. This one looks killer. It looks good. All right. And then if it breaks down, it is what it is. Who cares, right? If you find enough of these trades, you're going to catch one that pays you out all the way up to here. So your reward would be this big, right? Boom, all here, and your risk would be right here. So even if you lost 3 of these trades and you catch one and you even keep it on and it goes more, right? So like what's the risk unit in here? So you get one, it's basically 1, 2, 3, I don't know, maybe 4 or something like that, right? So 1 to 4. You find enough of those and all of a sudden you start on a streak and you start catching a lot of them and they start working in your favor. It's like, holy moly, like you just got to manage the risk. Oh, my back just cracked like crazy. Lulu, let's pull up Lulu. What's been up with Lulu? Not much. It's just been getting beaten down. I've traded Lulu. I traded it right over here, up a little bit, and it was super in and out. I'm glad that I was in and out because it got weak. Now, okay, we gapped up on earnings. It came in a little bit here, gap fill. I don't like how it was a bullish move, right? But it like reversed itself completely. And then we gapped up here and closed back lower. So it's a little sketchy for me, but I can see maybe like people are looking at this and like, okay, yeah, but the volume's coming in right here. Pretty tight. Had a couple of tight trading days. Now we're seeing some follow through here. So yeah, but also it feels like it'd be a hard trade for me personally to like keep an eye on. And once again, on these counter trend type of moves, so for example, like this, a counter trend bet, what do I do? I, once again, smaller typical position sizing. All right. Zim, the shipping stuff, you know, there's been a lot of news around the whole shipping containers and shipping stocks. These move very interestingly, a little bit all over the place and can change up really quickly on news. Like for example, see this gap up right here? Or sorry, not gap up, this open right here, and then it closed here, and then we opened here, and then closed down here. I mean, that's a pretty dramatic move. You know, they call these like, I think this is like called a bearish kicker. That's 20% in a day. So not my favorite type of move right here, those 2 days, right? That bearish kicker, right? We close at the high, gap way lower, close at the low. That's a pretty bearish move. And then we gap down here, and now we're consolidating in tight here too as well. So my thought here would be maybe it could drop back into the 15-day or the 50-day moving average, or right, it's tightening up. If you want to play it long, okay, well, make sure you're managing your risk right here in this little pocket, because if it breaks down, we can start moving. If it breaks out, we can start moving. Okay. The tightness is giving you the risk and reward. Yeah, SPY all-time high. Yeah, SPY's been cranking. Look at SPY go. Still moving. Let's take a look here now at market net flow. So where are we? Look at, we're pulling up to the 0-date level right now as we speak. See? So 54.55. So this is probably, and then I would imagine we come right back into 54.50. All right. If this strength wants to continue, cool. But I would say that'd be potential. Let me actually see if 0-date changed at all first. Let's see here. 54.55, and then it is actually reaching up a little bit more to 54.70. So 54.70 would be another level of interest, which is up here. Okay, but still 54.55 is the larger level as it stands. Now, if we go outside of this a little bit more, they're going to probably start driving this and start really reaching for 54.70. Okay, so that would be the next level. Let's actually clone this up, and I want to put a line there. $470. There you go. So if that's the case, 54.70 could be the level. And now on a very strong move, and then well, we're also pulling into the daily expected move right now on SPY. So good follow through. Let's take a look here now at what is currently driving the market. We'll take a look at the S&P 100 top performers while this is kind of moving. We have GE, very strong move in GE. Tesla is up 4.61%. As far as a larger market cap name goes, Apple's up 1.92. It's actually, this is a pretty broad-based. Let me see here.
Peru unemployment reported for May at 7.2%, 0.2 lower than expected for Peru.
I'm gonna pull up the index 80 line. Sorry. Yeah, pretty broad based. Look, we have 69 advancing stocks, 32 declining. So we're actually finally seeing some breadth in the market here, which is, in my opinion, a little bit better of a sign than anything. And this is happening too on a rising yield, and even semiconductors is still holding itself up, man. Actually, yeah, semiconductors is sitting around the highs of the trading session today. Okay, so let me go back to this chart. We dang near came into the daily expected move right there. We're off by like a few cents. So we're still within what the market perceived as far as risk goes. And then as far as this level goes, we got outside of it a little bit. They started reaching for 54.70. Let's see if they change that at all. No, it's still 54.55 right now. So to come in still would make sense to test 54.55. If we can hold this, that still opens the door. Hold it here. If you can hold in here, it opens the door to still 54.70. So I wouldn't necessarily be looking to fight this. As far as market net flow goes, you can see cumulative net premiums for puts been heading down. Cumulative net premiums for calls, it's been positive convergence all day. This is not something that you want to fight, and we're seeing the follow through, the move higher today, right? So positive convergence, bullish divergence, all that is signs of it's just a strong trend, buying into buying type of move intraday.
MRK getting FDA approval for a drug in combination with chemotherapy.
Moving and grooving, quite literally.
Endometrial carcinoma, like Romeo Kilo.
So Apple's holding up. Microsoft is just cranking still and just at the highs of the trading session too as well. That's really helping out. I want to just take a quick look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA's flat on the trading session, but this move definitely is helping out. So see this little, on just the minute time frame, how we tightened up and we kind of broke through that trend. So if NVIDIA keeps on climbing up here back into the opening range, it's going to be a pretty positive sign for the market. Amazon's seen also the bid. So all the big tech are seeing a bid, albeit they're not like all of them are doing, they're not like they're all doing great on the day. Right? Microsoft is up not even 1%. Everything else is flat to slightly down as far as the top 5 names go. Berkshire, this was one that I'm still watching. So Berkshire, we talked about in the other video, how it's pulling into this lower trend, right? So it's tightening up here pretty significantly. This could be just on the radar, right? If it breaks down, watch out. But if this thing comes back up and breaks out, this thing could be a big base breakout for Berkshire. This is Berkshire B, obviously. AVGO is having a lot of follow through. Tesla is still holding up. JPM holding up. Visa, not much going on there. Walmart's still having some follow through too. A lot of these names are having some follow through. Let's take a look at IWM. What's IWM doing? IWM flipped positive on the trading session. This is, one of the reasons why I say I wouldn't have shorted down here is because all these positive divergences are building, but it's still an unhealthy trend. So lagging way behind still. That's that bifurcation. That's the bad breath and so forth. And there's one of two things that can happen is we have a rotation into it, and then all of a sudden they make up a lot if they start to rotate out of the bigger names. And that's where the opportunity, in my opinion, could potentially be. But we just got to be very, very careful on how we manage that. Let's take a look at Celsius again. Celsius isn't doing anything. That's the weekly time frame. I want to see if any of these were catching a bid. No, that's just coming in. What about Beyond? Beyond kind of caught a bid here. It's just in its opening range, still down 2.27% on the day. Not too bad. Then I want to take a quick look at Bitcoin, because Bitcoin will be changing here soon from its current like buy signal. So Bitcoin's holding up okay. It came in a little bit. This is Bitcoin futures. So we had a little bit of a breakdown here. So Bitcoin's more kind of like be a little careful here, because the Sailor Shift tool did start to change over. So we'll see if it can recover. I like how DEC is setting up. I might actually have a little position now in DEC. Let me see here. It did get over that. No, it almost got over 1035. Came in a little bit. Oh, man, it's choppy, dude. If you get into DEC, you just got to make sure you're like putting limit orders in. Put in the price that you want to see. I'm going to give it a little bit more time. See what happens. Technically, it did get above the high of this trading session. So if you are in the stop, that would be the Holy Grail setup right there. The stop would be here. And then the target, you'd obviously target up to the high, or a little bit lower, whatever. Don't really matter there. That would be the risk on DEC. Risk on DEC. Yeah, this market's just screaming here. All right, let's take a look here. I'm going to see some comments if there's any other names that we can take a look at. AVGO, yeah, we pulled up that. AVGO is, I mean, that thing is just cranking. We're just having a lot of follow through. SMCI, yeah, SMCI has been wild too, right? SMCI had a nice breakout the other day of this little tight pattern, and now it's kind of holding up rather well. So semiconductors continue to be the play here. A lot of them are getting a little bit frothy, so just be aware of that. But the ones that are in consolidations and been, going sideways, if people are going to still continue to focus in on that stuff, I think that those could be potential opportunities, right? A lot of the semiconductors, people have been focused on a few names, and the ones that have been going sideways or down, may be the ones that we focus in on. So let's take a look at AMD. What's AMD been up to? Yeah, AMD has been kind of a dog here. I wouldn't rule this one out yet either. So we broke down from this little sideways consolidation. It's honestly, it's actually getting very tight right here despite it being down. So you have a close, a close, a close, a close, a close. I mean, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 closes that are incredibly tight. So where are we going to close today? Like slightly down over here, up a little bit further? That'd be 6 days, very, very tight. Yeah, it's declining. But also, if we have follow through to the upside, AMD can snap right back up to 170, right back into this consolidation in a moment's notice. So I personally would be waiting for the strength to show up. But nevertheless, we broke down from this little consolidation here, bullish consolidation, I'd say. And then if it comes back in, this could be just a shakeout move, right? Time to be cautious while it's under it. Comes back in, might look back at this and say it's a shakeout. Still under the 5-day moving average. You can see we gapped down from it. It held, it held, it held, it held. So this is why I say, if this starts flattening out and price can get back above it, that would be more of the entry over here, right? Because then you have a chance of it actually turning back up. It's not always the case how it plays out, but that'd be kind of what I'd be watching for in something like AMD. You got to just kind of be patient there. Snow. Yeah, what's up with Snow? Snow's been just getting completely just cracked too. It looks pretty decent over here. It looked decent over here. I couldn't enter in because of earnings. It gapped up. Everyone's pumped. And it reversed completely on itself. This is what I mean by, yeah, it started up high, but then closed at the lows. That's a very bearish, ominous sign there. And Can we see it bounce now? Potentially back up? I would say, yeah, we can probably see it bounce right back up into this range. This was the earnings move, 146, where it was prior support in this prior area. So yeah, to see snow bounce up, it makes sense. These names got beaten down now. Take a look at the 5-day moving average. Okay, so this is what I mean by it's starting to flatten out, right? So we put in a low, we put in a higher low, and now we just started to crack this. So this could be considered a little double bottom. Okay, would I enter right here? No, I'd actually want to see it pull in now, and this is flatten out to turn up, right? So it's starting to do that. I'd want a little bit more time to go by, right? Because I wasn't ready right here to buy into this strength. Or, you know, if you bought in, you probably, this would have been a good entry, breaking through this high, but we're already past that now. So a stop would be here, or the low, or maybe, you know, change that, have 50% stop here, 50% stop there. I would prefer to see this pull in a little bit, but yeah, this looks like it could be starting to set up something for a move, for sure.
Is there
Snow, yeah.
Yesterday begins. The annual meeting beginning.
I like how it's starting to flatten out here. Now I want to see the digestion. Now I want to see something happen where I'm like, okay, because I don't like chasing. I don't want to buy here and then go through a period of consolidation. I don't feel like waiting. That's on the shorter time frame. So if it goes up higher, if it gaps up and rips tomorrow, I'd still be waiting for the consolidation and then setting up for a potential move into the declining 20-day or so forth.
GameStop CEOs saying they anticipate having a smaller number of stores. Golf Michael Echo.
Salesforce, I don't really have an eye on right now. It was just a very bearish move to the downside on that gap on the earnings move. And, you know, we saw some follow through to the upside. Now it's coming back in. Typically, weak stocks get weaker. So to see it come retest these lows, possibility. Can it come back up and test here? Yeah. But I'd still, even if it was like that, like I'd still be like, okay, careful here still, because it's still consolidating. It would still be technically consolidating its bearish earnings move or bearish earnings, power earnings gap. So, you know, it's just not really on my eyes. What's trying to compete with a Moonraker? What's trying to compete with NVIDIA? Which one was it? Oh, AMD or? It's not winning. That's for sure. The little cousin. The little cousin just wants to fit in, dude. It might play catch up. Who knows? It's just not been a focus. So I don't know. My thought is maybe people are going to look to focus into it if people stop focusing in on NVIDIA. And I mean, the setup right now, I mean, looks cleaner for AMD than NVIDIA. If I look at NVIDIA, it's like, okay, look at the daily time frame. I got to fix this bar. I look at the daily time frame. It's like, I'm not going to go long here. I don't care if it keeps going higher. I would still wait for the consolidation, right? Yeah. And then AMD has been just taking a back seat. So to me, this looks like I'd feel much more comfortable going long AMD than long NVIDIA from the current chart perspective. Because I can look at this and I can just be like this. Okay, yeah, this was a kind of a sideways consolidation, or it's actually just legitimately just wedging here, right? That's what I mean by it's getting pretty tight. So if I went long here, I just, okay, there's my stop, right? If I go long NVIDIA, it's like, okay, where's my stop? At the low of that day? Maybe for an intraday trade, I'd like NVIDIA more because it has trend with it, you know? But for a swing trade, I think I like these setups better. And if this could have been a different name, I'd still say the same thing. This could be Woolworths, right? And I'd still say the same thing. How do you fix the NVIDIA candle? So NVIDIA that day, I believe, let me see here. The high of NVIDIA on that specific day was, let me see. So NVIDIA, so you right click on it, correct this bar. I think it was 123.09. So I go into here, I go 123.09, and I'll just copy these origins down here. Command C. I'll just do it right now. Why not? Boom. There you go. Corrected the bar. See? There you go. There's NVIDIA. So you just right click on it, correct it, and then you could use a different like charting software to know the exact high, but I'm pretty sure it was like Yeah, it's 123.09. It's an accurate reading. I pulled that from stock charts. I did it this morning. That's how I knew if anybody was wondering. How did he know that? S&P 500 still holding up rather well here underneath this area of liquidity. For those that don't know, this is Bookmap. Bookmap allows you to visualize what's going on behind the candlestick. I'm looking at ES, the U contract, ESU 24. You can see that there's about 238 orders and a little bit more just slightly above that. And then over here we have some liquidity up at that 54.40. You can see we have supportive bids beneath us too. So now I'd be like, okay, if this was clear blue underneath us, it's because it's a heat map. I'd be like, yeah, careful, because it's going to be harder to break that if there's no supportive bids. And we have supportive liquidity underneath us as it stands in this current moment. So buyers keep set. Look at, there's something going on right now. It's getting ready for a move. That was some algos. You see how that lit up? They're gearing up. They're getting ready. They're getting ready for the move. Here it comes. Who will win? Who shall win the fight? Still underneath the daily expected move, yet to tag it. Let's go ahead and continue. I want to just check over here. And we're holding above the 54.55. I want to just check in, see maybe if they're reaching out still. If anything's changed. This will give us some insight into what could be the next move here. 54.75, that changed quite a bit here. So, yeah. Wait, woof, back up. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, watch out here. If this is an accurate reading right now, traders are reaching up higher. They're going for it. 54.70 to 54.75. So this could be potentially, watch this to hold now as potentially support. Let's see if that can be the case. And then we'll duplicate this. Oh, what was that? What did I just do? What the? Okay, here we go. Control C, Control V. And then up here would be the target area because they're reaching for it. They're reaching. They want it. They're like, take me higher. Okay, let's see here. There's that move that we kind of just identified. We'll see if it can continue. Yeah, so this is a pretty broad-based rally so far. Monday's starting off good. 62 advancers, 39 decliners. Adobe down, MDT, Medtronic, Pfizer, and God, dude, PayPal sucks. My goodness. I am so happy I'm out of that name. I was looking for it to set back up again. So I traded it over, where did I trade it? I know, I traded it like, I forget where I traded. I traded it, I was kind of within this area looking for a breakout and follow through. And then I got stopped out, I think, this day.
Profitability
and then all of a sudden, I'm like looking at it here. I'm like, okay, now it's looking like it might set up again. It might set up again. And they dump it again. This is the most annoying stock. This is what happens when you're stuck in a range and you don't have trend on your side. That's crappy. Crappy. All right, let's take a look at IWM. I want to still IN here on IWM. That's right, people. IWM still holding up here too. There's that move. I'd like to see my Celsius trade kind of catch some sort of a bid. It ain't doing it. My Beyond, I still have a little bit of Beyond there. That's the counter. Those are counter trend moves. And then there goes S&P 500. There's that crank that we're kind of looking at. Did you see that light up on the screen here? And that's kind of like, there was like, that was a pretty interesting setup there. And we're like, okay. You can't see that on a candlestick chart, but it shows me that, okay, it looks like they're gearing up for some sort of a move here. And that was a nice little pop there for what, like 29 to 33, few points, maybe higher. I don't really know, but that's what it was just now. Is GME moving? There's some notes coming out from Ryan Cohan. Yeah, GME is definitely moving down. Nothing exciting there. Qs, man, look at Qs go. Look at the tech. This is just insane.
equity markets continue extending.
Even look
gains
at
here.
the even
S&P
look at the
1.5%.
volume here.
Nasdaq composite up more than 0.6.
Market net flow, by the way, it's still really bullish. It's been bullish all day. And look at the divergence. Like, this is just straight take me higher type of price action. So, you know, don't bother fading this. Like, if intraday, like if you keep on trying to average into a fade, it's like you'll get your head blown off. These are the type of days. These are the type of structure in the market where if you're trying to fight this trend, you got to be super quick and aggressive if you're trying to do that. But the easy trade would be just be with the trade, be with the price action. We're currently outside of the daily expected move. Me personally, so I have some positions on. I would actually be looking to hedge the market if it's like for today or tomorrow, if we come up to the upper weekly expected move and we're already outside of the monthly, that's where I'd look to start hedging. It's a pretty aggressive move to kick off the week, but that's what I would start to personally look to do. But right now, 0 date, 54.70, they started reaching for that. $54.70, $54.75. That changed quick. That changed real quick. Yeah, you can always do a trailing stop, Johnny, or, you know, get out early. Like, it's just, you know, there's so many different ways to manage risk. You got to just find out what's best for you and kind of stay consistent with it. So you don't need to worry about it. It's like, there's going to be times like you say, I should have set a trailing stop this time. Okay. Well, next time, if you set a trailing stop, it might come way down and actually get you out. Right. Whereas this, you know, but if you got out early, like technically if you got out early today, maybe you caught it perfectly. So you're going to run into that in both ways. So just understand it'll be a constant battle of going back and forth. So either one, you stick to one consistently, or two, you have an idea of how, like, what would hold you in the position to set a trailing stop and versus getting out early. So for example, like if I look at market net flow, if I was long or if I was trading that intraday, I'm not really trading much here. Oh, you know what? I do have positions on right now. I have some IWM. I have a Ruddy position. Sorry. I have M2KU 4 positions on right now, which is micro Russell. And I'm still in it. But the reason why I say, you know, we should hold our trailing stop is given the context, if it was an intraday trade, market net flow could easily be like, okay, this tells me I should probably just still stay in it, or maybe take partial profits and then let some go, right? Or trailing stop or whatever. Like that could be an idea, right? Because this is it's just pure strength right here. It's just pure strength. But getting some out at the daily expected move, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. You just got to be consistent and go from there. Crocs coming up. Yeah, we'll take a look at Crocs. I don't have faith in this move up. You can't hear me? Can anybody hear me? That would be funny if nobody could hear me. Should be able to hear me pretty good. Can maybe turn it up a little bit more. I don't want to start clipping. It's in the yellow. I guess it could be up a little bit louder. That might help.
GameStop, they are closing the annual general meeting. All 5 director nominees were approved by shareholders.
Okay. Crocs. Yeah, let's see what's up with Crocs. Somebody had mentioned a potential triple top. Yeah, maybe. So if it's like a triple top, right? So I'm assuming that you mean this point, this point, this point. Look at, it's above a rising 5-day moving average, right? And then technically a triple top would be when it actually crosses the neckline and breaks below. So it'd have to come way down here, obviously. And then it's like, okay, now we had the triple top. Now look for it to kind of reach that measured move. But right now, what I look at, I'm just like, okay, well, it's been going sideways. It's above a rising 5-day moving average. Is it extended on the day? I mean, yeah, it's a pretty extended move right there. You know, if we're just looking at minutes, so to pull in a little bit, but what's to stop it from keep on going or breaking out? You know, come right back into 158.74, which is the point of control, would make sense. So yeah, the move's getting a little extended here intraday, but for, like I said, for I just consider it more this range or whatever, right? But it would have to break this little box there. And then maybe 149, 150 would be the target there after that point. Increase broadcast frequency. I don't even know what that means. I'm on Alpha Center. I don't even know what that is. Oh, okay. Thank you. You're messing with me again, aren't you? I can never tell when you're being serious or when you're messing with me. Actually, I can. There's definite times where I can definitely tell. Boom. All right. You guys are talking Crocs. Crocs Hot Pox. Crocs Pox. Crocs kind of looks like the one that I just pulled up. Wait, this is what I just had. Yeah, duh. I'm like, wait a second. Crocs just looks exactly like what I had. It was on my screen already. No duh. Very serious about my iPads. All right, S&P 500 catching a little bit of a downside move here. I wanted to pull up GameStop just to see how it responds after the meeting. There's a lot of volatility in GameStop. Trash. And then right now we're between the 54.55 and there's still traders reaching up to that 54.70 there. And then we're trading right here. You can see we're getting hung up at the daily expected move for SPY. Okay. So we'll see how this kind of resolves itself. Talked about quite a bit of stocks we went over. Quite a bit of names indeed. I just want to check in on IWM again. Yeah, IWM's moving. I wanted to wait for it to hit a threshold of 200 for my trade. I bought at 2021.05. I bought 2 micros at the M2KU4 contract. So you can trade, by the way, so micros are much more, if you're trading full-size contracts, man, they're pretty crazy, right? They move quick. The micros, if I'm live, like I can't trade full contracts if I'm live. Like it moves too quick for me. But micros, like I forgot about that I had the position on, and I'm only trading 2. I think I'll just hold it on and just see where it lands. I don't have anything to really worry about here. Let me make sure that they're still both on. Let me see if I have profit taking orders. I'm going to put profit orders and I'll put a stop in and I'll go from there. 1, 2. So I would like to see it at 2041.50. That's where I want to take my profit. That's just a dollar amount profit that I was kind of eyeing in on. Oh. Okay, yeah, no, that's the right one. Give me a second. Sorry, I just want to put these in just so I have them in on my screen. There we go. I'll be right back. I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break, and I gotta fill up on water too. And then we might call the stream somewhat early, but I wanna look over a couple more things. I'm gonna put on this. I'll be right back. I'm taking 5 seconds here. There we go. Excuse me. Ah. All right, be right back.
It's from Fed's Harker saying last week's CPI data was very welcome, but overall progress on inflation in recent months has been modest. Monetary policy remains positioned in restrictive territory. Policy is positioned this way to bring inflation down to the 2% target. Harker saying 2 cuts or no cuts this year remains possible amid the uncertainty. Keeping rates where they are for a bit longer will help get inflation down and mitigate upside risks, as Harker. Long-term stubbornness of shelter inflation remains a concern, as does service sector inflation. Harker still forecasting slowing but above trend growth with modest rise in unemployment rate on a long path back to 2% inflation. And Harker saying his view, there should be 1 cut this year if the economy evolves as expected.
Yo, okay. Back again. Sorry, I had the music muted, apparently. My bad.
You're listening to Trade the News.
Can I explain why the CNN index is all time? Yeah, I can. Do it fast. So it's at, there's 7 components, I think, of the CNN greed and fear and greed index. And to be honest, I don't really pay attention to it unless if it's at extremes, right? So right now, I think it's, let me see here. Pull it up. Okay. So the fear and greed index, this is what I mean by bifurcation, right? There's been few names that bring it up, and this is Divergences build and for a while. And so I only pay attention to really the fear and greed index if we're at extremes, and they use some decent components, right? There's 7 different indicators. They use market momentum, which is, they have explanations here. I'm not going to read into it. They do stock price strength, which is using 52-week highs. So see how it's extreme fear, right? In both of these, look where it's at. Okay, 52-week highs and lows on the NYSE, okay? McClellan Volume Summation Index, both of things that we track individually too. And look at, as they're putting in lower highs there on both of these, that's why they're extreme fear, is because a lot of the market is falling apart. This is why I'm saying the market could go a lot higher if we start getting breath into it and the other names that have been holding it up continue to perform. The market could scream higher. There could be a rotation. If they start to digest, we might see a rotation in. But more importantly, if the market comes in here, I think it's gonna get oversold super quickly because a lot of the names are already down significantly. The breadth has been super, super poor. Okay. So that's why it's at. You can read into the individual parts of it. You can look at a timeline, right, and see where it's at, right? Extreme greed gets up in these ranges, and then we could typically see some pullbacks and it resets. But overall, like if I'm looking at this, it's just a quick gauge. Like people say, it's not a fear index, it's not this, it's not that. Whatever, dude. Who cares? Who cares what it is? But I will say that when we get into like extremes, it's worth noting and then start breaking down what is causing it specifically. And then you could go into, okay, well, that makes sense. And then you can go into individual names and play them how you see fit. Okay. It's not like an end all be all tool. It's just another tool on the shelf, elf on the shelf. All right. All right, so how are we doing? We're still managing quite well over here on the S&P 500, not too far off for the highs of the day. At all. See if market net flow is still holding strong. It is. And let's see if traders are still out here towards... Yep, 54.75. Don't rule it out, people. Don't rule it out. That's up here. Whee! For the day. Let's take a look here at tech. How we doing there? Jeez, look at this. Broke this opening range. Man, that thing has been just sky high. Wild. Take a look at my positions here for IWM. Or, sorry, not IWM. Ready. Micros. Still holding up. I'm up about 150, but I have 2 accounts specifically that I'm trading on right now. A couple $100. I would like to get it to where I said prior. We'll see if that can happen. All right. Yeah, nice big move there for IWM. That does was ready for that. Okay, so how's Bitcoin holding up? So Bitcoin, we still don't have a technical sell signal, sell trigger, but I will say, so I'm going to pull up the Sailor to Shift tool for those that might want an update. Let's see what that looks like. Gold, it's end of day contract, so I won't see that. So I'm going to just change it to GLD to give an idea of where it may be by the end of day. And it is crossing under the 0 line here, so it could be breaking its little trend. So you can see it's crossing down right now, but still you'd have to close over. So it closed in positive territory in the rate of change, but if it closes down here this week, then it has to cross below the low of the prior week, which is currently this week, for the sell signal, sell trigger. So it's still technically an active signal, but it is starting to turn around here. So we'll see how it kind of resolves itself as time progresses forward. Utilities, let's take a look at some utility names. Yeah, let's do that. I want to look at, so I got my watch list, and I think I have the sector specifics in my PDF, and I want to download this. Let me see here. Okay, Moonraker's got some names. I'll pull those up. Okay, sector, I want to pull up utilities. Let me, dude, I suck at Excel. Format it, come on now. All right, so I got some utility names here. Let me just, they're on my watch list. Let me do, okay, so I'm just gonna type them in here really quick. I got Duke. Southern Energy. Sempra SRE, PCG, AEP, ETR, next, and VST, and then Moonraker mentioned NEE, Xterra Energy. Okay, so these are just some of the names that have been on my watch list. So I just want to check in to see how they're doing. NEE is actually getting pretty tight here. It's obviously kind of, some might say this, oh, it's a bear flag, but it's actually above a rising 50-day. So in my opinion, like the trend is still up and it came in a little bit. So if utilities are going to catch a little bit of a move, like, right, one could look at this like this. You know, it's getting pretty tight here. So, I mean, even a break out of this and you have a tight stop, that can send us. All right. So NEE, this is a higher beta utility name. I'm pretty sure this is the utility name. NEE. It's like one of the, I think it's actually one of the main ones in XLU. Let me see here. Yeah, it's the number one name in there. So yeah, and then Southern and then Duke. Okay. If I look at XLU, sorry, price has came in and you can see it's also getting pretty tight right here too as well. So utilities look like they're potentially just consolidating a one big run, right? And maybe an opportunity here. So I'd say it might be worth keeping an eye on for sure. EMPH and FSLR. I know those are. I'll go over those ones in a second here. I wanted to just check out these utility names. I want to see what FDX is doing. I missed my trade there. I might still enter in. Okay. So VST down pretty significantly on the day. This is another one so this is like an energy name. Pulling into around the 50-day moving average. This could be a potential consolidation, right? I'd prefer to see strength, which is just not there yet. So VST is on the watch list. Nextera, NEXT. This one's pulling into a 20-day. Sorry, not Nextera. Next decade. How's the volume on this thing, though? Kind of thinly traded because it's a low price name. I'll go to the next. Next. ETR. There we go. Another kind of similar look here. This one's underneath the 50-day, but this has also been kind of wedging out here, and it's at the kind of lower portion of this area. We gapped down today. We're around the highs of the trading session. Some of these names look like they're setting up for a bounce. AEP, I'm just seeing if there's any cleaner setups. AEP looks pretty clean. All right, we're right at that 50-day below the declining, but it's getting pretty tight right here. Pretty tight here. So like this one, and then where do we pull to? Oh, we didn't quite pull down into that range, maybe, roughly on this breakout area. So that's holding up pretty well. PCG, PG&E. I think that there was some news today on PG&E or some sort of meeting. So this one's down about 1.89% today. I don't like entering into that type of weakness, but still is kind of on the radar. SRE. Also getting pretty tight here. SRE looks pretty darn good. Yeah, so SRE, what's the volume in here look like? Okay, this to me looks like it's this one's setting up. So not only do we break from this base and it's been flat, but the 200 is starting to turn up. The 50 days started recently turning up, and we've kind of been consolidating after this nice run up. Yeah, we have a high, a lower high, and a lower high. So really, in theory, you'd want it to start breaking above. Right, that's where you'd want to see the strength come in. So if I go to the 15-minute time frame, the 5-day is starting to flatten out here as we've been just trading sideways. So it might still need a little bit more time to set up, versus just entering in. But if I go to the weekly time frame, look at the weekly time frame. It's pulling into that 10-week, right, with strong move, kind of flagging right here. This could be something to definitely watch out, pay attention to. Right, see how it kind of broke this little trend line here. It's pulling back into it. Sempra Energy. And then even here on the daily time frame, it's getting pretty tight. So it's like, okay, you play the breakout, you can have a stop under here or even trail the 50. This could be something to come hit this prior swing high, which is a pretty large move. I mean, that's, 4%, 5%. And then if it actually does a measured move, I mean, a measured move can be a potential flag. So let's see here. Let's go like that. Almost 15 to 16% gain if that's a full-on measured move. It takes some time to get there, obviously, but you would think it would take some time to get there. Who knows? Okay, so SRE, that would be on there. Duke, got an inside trading candle here today too as well. Rising 50-day, rising 200, kind of just consolidating here sideways. Yeah, a lot of these utility names look pretty decent. By decent, I mean, like, if you go long, there's like a clear area where you can manage risk, The moon needs utilities. Take a look at SoFi. I don't know what's happening over there at SoFi. Yeah, it's pretty bearish looking. It kind of looks like IWM. It's been down for like 4 days. Why isn't this one catching a bid here? Did IWM fall apart or something?
That's deliver sweep operation 66.
No, IWM's at its highest. Actually,
$1 billion.
Give me a second here. Man, I'm so close to my. I guess I can leave it on. We're at the highs of the day with on Ruddy. I don't feel like watching this anymore. Give me a second here. Dang, I need just like a few more points here. That'd be great. Should I just keep it on? Just update my stop? I don't need a few more points. Let's be real, but I just don't want to pay attention, so I'm gonna just go ahead and exit out there. If it goes up higher, I don't care, because if something sets up, I'll just enter into a new setup. But maybe I should just keep this one on. I'll keep one account going. Nah, I'm gonna exit out. I don't want to keep focused on it. Okay, so for anyone that's been kind of like that heard me about my IWM trade, or for my day trade, this is a day trade. That was all, not my swing trade. I'm out of that position. The reason why I was trying to get more points on that is because I'm trading out of my my funded Top Step account, and they require you to get like up to 30 days of like trading $200. And sometimes it's hard to do if you're trading micros, if it's not in the early trading session where the volatility's at. And like today is like, I'm at like 160, 150 and so forth, which is still money, right? But you have to get like a certain amount of days in order to be able to take 100% of your account out, which I fully am going to do. I'll just try to take out all my money, and I'll restart restart a combine. I take my money and then run. I don't know. Maybe I'll try to build it up. Who knows? Okay, so yeah, I'll leave my regular swing trade on. Let's check the markets here really quick. So, and look, oh my God, look at this. This thing is just continuing to crank. Where are we? We're back. We're in that area here where the market was reaching for. There you go. There it was. Boom. 5470. 5475 is where the 5470 was. No, was it 5470 or 54? It was 5475. I typed that in wrong. So it's actually up. No, I think I typed that in right. I think it was 5470, and then they started reaching for 5475, which I didn't add the level because it was already there on a net gamma perspective. So we're pulling into that level as we speak right now. Talk about a big move there in the markets. And if we look at market net flow, it's been bullish all day, bullish divergence, bullish convergence. This is why we say don't bother fighting. Don't bother fighting that tape, because it can just keep screaming and just going, man. Holy moly. Okay, so what was I talking about? We were looking at some of these other names, right? FSLR. Dang, this is what a fake out here on FSLR. Could be just a shakeout, but nice big breakout over here. We flagged, we followed through, it looked great. Now it's coming in a little bit. It's at lows of the trading session today, just not getting any love. It's a weird trading session, man. A weird trading session today. Yeah, and as far as SoFi goes, it's, yeah, we're talking about SoFi. Yeah, look, I mean, I definitely wouldn't be shorting here. Look at the positive divergence it's forming on both the so if you're trying to look for like a shorter term trade right here, yeah, SoFi could be one, right? For a potential counter trend bounce move. It's gotten hit down. We have positive divergences. Like the market's been ripping. These aren't getting any love, but perhaps like we might see a little bit of rotation into the names that have been getting beaten. So yeah, SoFi could be one where to maybe 648, maybe even higher. That would be, you know, about a 2% move or so. Not bad. It just understand that if you take that type of a trade, like for example on SoFi, it's like you're fighting the trend. The whole market's ripping right now, and you're buying something that has no interest, right? Like nobody's doing it, so you'd be trying to play for like maybe a swing trader, like you think that they would be rotating in. The easier trade for intraday would obviously be with the current market, but I can see why people might try to set up like, okay, where could be the opportunity for tomorrow, for the next day, and it could be stuff that has been getting beaten down, like for example SoFi and so forth. That's why I looked at IWM earlier today, right? That's why I traded IWM earlier, because I thought maybe we might be able to see some sort of rotation, and we did, but it wasn't great, you know. Give me a second here. Big ol' recovery today. Okay, so I'm definitely going to be looking to hedge out. If we came up to like something crazy like 54.50 today, I'd be hedging out my portfolio. I'd be looking to take some off the table. CELH, that one.
Saying that the company's transparent with
same thing
terms
with
and
here. This one's
conditions
not seeing any love
agreements
at
a
all.
simple cancellation process and refuting.
Actually, my position earlier this morning, I think is up. Yeah, so I'm up on my position that I added onto this morning. But on my on the main position, my main entry, it's obviously it's down. I think there's still opportunity here for a bounce, but it's just not getting any focus like a lot of these other names. Okay. All right, we're coming up into the 54.75. Not too far from there. Still incredibly bullish market posture for the day. Market net flow just insanely bullish. Once again, it's not something that you'd want to fade. We are coming into levels where if you are tactically like a person that likes to short, maybe that could make sense for some. 54.75. So if we get past that and traders aren't really reaching out, my guess would be that the better like counter trend bounce would be through 54.75. No traders are reaching out. Chances are we come right back into that level. So that's where I would say like would make more sense, which we're about 5 points or so from it on this specific chart. I'm kind of just in that range right now. So outside of the daily expected move, so the higher probability is obviously coming back in. But market net flow, still very bullish here. So the trade has been made. The trade's been made. That's kind of what I see. Let's see IWM if it's pulling in here. Kind of went a little bit higher, but coming slightly in here. Nothing crazy. Legs asleep. My foot's asleep. Man, semiconductors are just ripping. Okay, I gotta check this out here. So semiconductors, Man, look at these things go. Okay, I want to just look. Okay, let me see here. I mean, they still have, I mean, the weekly expected move is up here, 277. Huh. 277.62, right? So this is the weekly expected move. Let me just activate this. Okay, so that's the weekly expected move for semiconductors. If we go straight up into that, I'd also be looking to probably have a, when I say hedge, like hedge the portfolio or maybe add into some short positions, I might look actually to do it with through semiconductors, like maybe SOXS for like a, because then I don't need to use a lot more capital and I can even use less because my shorts are typically smaller. So it has a little ways to go, obviously, if it can get up there. But if that is the case, I think that'd be a pretty comfortable, quick little move. Another way to hedge is just by having more cash in your portfolio. But that to me could make sense. And then if that is the case, I think that we would actually be at the weekly expected move for SPY. We'd be clearly above the upper monthly, and it'd still be early in the trading week too. So if we get up here by Tuesday, it's typical that we just hang around these levels. I mean, that's kind of my area where I'd be like, yeah, now I'd be pumping on brakes a little bit more significantly throughout the stuff that I'm seeing. So the bigger level would be that 5,500. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Nice. Good job, Victor, on your, no, I'm not going to short it SMH. I'm not shorting it today. No, I'm not looking to do that. I was just saying if it gets more extended to the upside with it, seeing that on the daily time frame, I might look to add in, which by the way, it's not a big position. It's more of like a protective position against my other names. And that's one way to do it. I haven't fully decided yet, so I don't want to read too much into that. I'm just thinking out loud right now.
Or from Philly Fed's Harker and Q&A now saying it's fine to keep rates where they are and wait for data.
ENPH. Yeah, ENPH is coming in to around the 50-day. These solar names, man, they look great, and then they just came right in. We'll probably experience a bounce in these solar names here too, probably pretty soon. They're getting pretty frothy to the downside. All right, pretty darn frothy. They've been a little oversold here. Like it's pretty similar to what we said with SoFi, right? See a bounce, but they're right now. They're just not getting the attention. They're not getting any love. They're actually responding, typically quite normal with the 10-year yields up, right? It was a decent sized day in the 10-year yield. Look at XLK just screaming, man. So XLK, the expected move for the week on XLK is 231.70, and this darn near hit it already. All right. So if I go into XLK, I mean, shoot, I might even look to do this one. So there's ways you can short XLK. Look at this breakout right here, just these higher lows. Got really tight and then broke. But this is the weekly expected move right here for XLK. What's some of the ETFs that you can short tech, as in like TEX? Yeah, there it is right there. TEX, TEXCS. I'd be very careful shorting tech. Very, very careful. And I definitely wouldn't hold it for more than a few days. Especially because you're going up against trends. Text is the inverse, thanks, yeah. And the thing too is like, if I look at some of the tech names, like they look like they're still like could gear up for a move. Like we talked about Google, right? Google looks like it can go. This is why I'd be like a little hesitant. right? So Google, it's just consolidating sideways, looking like it's gearing up. I mean, this kind of looks how Netflix look. Look at Netflix, right? Netflix kind of geared up like this too, consolidated, and then we saw that breakout right there. Earnings are around the corner there on Netflix. That's going to be interesting to see how they report. Meta is also like consolidating, is pulling in here like that, you know? So you say you short tech, but let me see what's the top holdings here in tech. Right? You have Microsoft, Apple, NVIDIA, AVGO. Those ones aren't really there. So AMD. So that'd be more of like XLY, I guess. Amazon. And so forth. So XLK, Microsoft, Apple, NVIDIA would be the main focus. And Apple, I mean, pullback this thing's cranking. This, I'd be careful with Apple too. So yeah, maybe that comes in. But if I look at NVIDIA, just consolidating here too. But this, yeah, so this one might have to come in for a little bit. So yeah, then it comes back to like semiconductors for me, like, right? So if semiconductors could reach a little bit further out, I feel like that would be a decent area to like, okay, now I'll establish like a little bit of a position where I think it's going to come in a little bit, just like a counter trend move. S&P 500 still roughly at the highs of the trading session. I'm going to see here if we can get through this 54.75. If we get through that, I think that opens the door for a potential short back into it and short back through under for just a very quicker trade. If they're not going to start reaching out further, which it doesn't seem like they are right now, but the market's pressing still. So kind of got to get through this level. And then my thought process would be like this: through the level, back in. Through the level, back in. Yeah, you can do a put spread. Yeah, that'd probably be the better idea, the bear spread. Yeah. I'm not even trading options though, so the majority of my hedging is literally just cash, just being more into cash. And then if I feel like it, like taking a trade from the short side, I that's what I'll do. But like I said, I'd prefer it to be higher. I prefer it to be just a little bit there, as I'm not asking for much. So here we are, we're breaking through that 54.75. So this is kind of what I was looking for here. Okay, this is what I was looking for. So to see it pop through and then potentially come back in. That's what I was looking for here. Okay, let's see here.
For Amazon, saying their Zoox autonomous ride-hailing service will soon welcome its first public riders in Las Vegas for AMZN.
Okay, so there's the pop through, and then it came back in. Okay, I want to see if it can go a little bit lower there and maybe get back under the 54.70. I think 54.70 could very well hold, but that's what I mean by like a very quick counter trend trade. Right, we get through it and then we come back in. It doesn't mean that we can't go higher by any means, but that's right there is what I was kind of suggesting. Okay. Would like to see it go a little bit more down. Now, the main idea here is if they don't start reaching out further, 54.75, yeah, no, it's kind of pinned there. So we'll see if they start reaching out further, this thing can continue to scream. Okay, so we'll see now. So now as we're seeing this take place too, if you're like long on certain positions, if they're not reaching out further, right, and we're looking at just the flow of the S&P 500, not a bad idea to take some off the table, some profits, or update stop losses or whatever the case is, whatever works best for you. They're still not reaching there. Market net flow is still bullish, but it is starting to lose a little convergence here. It leads me to believe that, yeah, this little pop, I would still maybe 54.80 maybe. And then still, I think it would come back right into this little range here. That would be my play. That's what I would think. So let's see. Give it some time. Come on, let's get like a little bit of a pop, man.
To material deterioration.
It's happening on the smaller time frames. Like a little bit more of a pop would be nice. Just maybe 55.50 on ES. Okay. They're actually kind of reaching a 5,500. They might want to take it there today. That'd be crazy. 5,500 is still right above us. Okay, so 5,500. That line us up with the weekly expected move. Man, I wouldn't even rule it out right now. So you can see, did you see how this kind of grew in size right here? 5,400. It might not be a straight shot because still this is a pretty substantial level for a zero date on the SPX, but nevertheless, people are actually reaching to 5,500 right now.
Globally, rates are heading down, just at a different pace.
That's wild. $5,500. Day one of the week would be pretty crazy. It's been straight up. All right, market net flow, still looking good. See if anything's, we still have a pretty supportive bid beneath us, and then 55.50 on ESU. Have about 325 contracts up overhead. Overall, on this move up too, you're seeing just good volume, just green volume, just boom, 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 boom. And then on the little pullbacks, it's pretty light. Man, one-sided trade today. Trend day. All right, any other names that we can pull up while this is kind of still going? Caught a good move on Tesla. Yeah, 5,500 would be nuts, especially just today. I mean, I can see how 5,500 could be reached given the context of what's been going on from a gamma perspective. But today, you know, that'd be a pretty big move. That's insane. Yeah, Tesla's up at the weekly expected move. Let's take a look at Tesla. Yeah, Tesla's been a nice mover. Tesla's weekly expected move 186.9, so it's outside of it right now. This thing's been cranking. It did that last week over here, and then it kind of reversed on itself. So these are the shake and bake type of moves here. Shake and bake, Ricky Bobby. 5,500. Wait, where did I want to go? Okay. All right, we're up here at now 54.80. This thing is still cranking. I want to see if anything substantially changed or if this is kind of the trade that I was looking for set up.
Scheduling node, Fed Chair Powell to give a semi-annual monetary policy.
No, I don't. It's not really changing. So this tells me that we can easily come right back down to 54.75. So still watching. 54.75 is right here. This little green line right here. So come right back into here. It would make sense. If they start really substantially reaching out, maybe I'd suggest different, but yeah. And then it looks like it will want to take this liquidity here. There's about 300 contracts here. Still holding up. I mean, all the moves up are on good volume, so still not quite there yet. Not quite ready. I feel like if this is the hard part. So if I enter in right now, If I don't, I feel like it's going to be a quick break and then snap right back up is what I'm saying. So I still think the easy trade is still to come fill this liquidity at 55.50. We'll see what happens after that point. And then go from there. Yeah, I'm not ready to put in a limit order yet. Because I still want to see. I don't know if I want it to get filled yet. I just want to be very, very tactical. I'm not much of a fan of the counter trend trade right now, but given the context what we're seeing here, the stronger it moves from it, and if we don't see traders reach out further, I still think that this would be the play to come back into the 54.75. It's just market net flow is still incredibly strong. And I'm just not ready to do that yet. Yeah. And the unfortunate thing is the move, if it does come back in at 54.75, it's probably too fast, too aggressive. Oops, sorry if I bumped the mic. Okay. While that's actually going, let's see here. We'll pull up any other names. I just want to see, what is the dollar doing? Dollar's hardly even down on the day. 10-year yields up on the day. Bitcoin has recovered quite a bit there. Oh, Bido. That's good news for the Bitcoin. Yeah, especially against these trends. Yeah, I feel you there. Like I said, I still think it can come in right back into this range, but it just didn't feel like an easy trade. So if you are counter trending it, I think it's like it has to be small, and if it comes back into that level, you basically have to get out. A little too hard, and much harder to do that than it is to just buy any dip. But that's why I just focus more on the long positions anyway. I want to take a look at IWM now. Yeah, IWM would have come back today. Still underneath the declining 5-day moving average, so this thing kept on running. Looks still good. I have a little bit of IWM on through TNA, but it's on a swing trade, not in the middle of or not in the intraday trade anymore. Missed the SPY balloon today. It'll be back someday. It'll come and go. So right now what we're looking at is coming back into 54.75. That's kind of where my head is at right now. Just coming back into here. Unless if traders can still continue to reach, right? So this is what we said. It was like, if it come through 54.75, what I'd be looking for is it to come back in. Or unless if traders start really reaching out, but it doesn't seem like that's the case right now. It seems like the call wall is here to stay at 54.75. We're about 3 points or so away from it. So it's kind of where my head's at. Okay. Fed Harker today. A couple notes from him. He sees 1 cut in 2024 if the economy evolves as expected. 2 cuts or none, also quite possible. What the hell kind of comment is that? Yeah, so I see 1 cut in 2024 if the economy evolves as expected, but 2 cuts or none, they're also quite possible. It depends on data. Like, what's the point of coming out and saying that? You know, like, what's the point of that? It's basically just saying the same thing over and over. It just don't make no sense to me. They say policy is restrictive, positioned to bring inflation to 2%. Okay, last week's CPI data very welcome. Whatever, dude. People like being on TV. Yeah, he gets to be on TV. Guess so. I guess so. That's what it is. What it is, what it is.
As Harker saying, be cautious at this point. We want several more months of data.
Still talking. Same thing. Okay. It says it will refute FTC charges in court. Adobe is going to refute charges in court. I don't know about all the what's been going on with Adobe, but that's just some news today.
News International, MATW, Tesla filing suit against the company, saying that Matthews disclosed confidential trade secrets to other companies. Michael Alpha Tango Whiskey.
Michael Alpha Tango Whiskey. MATW. Damn, that's a name that's been just getting hammered. Matthews. No idea what this is at, but they just had some news come out from Matthews. That's why we're seeing some volume come in right here. So thinly traded. Yeah, we're starting to get some of the liquidity stacked up above us here. Still, I don't know. Really, it just looks like it's just flagging out. There's not much like red volume coming in, but we'll see. Still quite a lot of supportive bids. Oh, actually, let me see here. Yeah, it's getting pretty nice little fight here going on. SPY's just sitting roughly at the highs of the trading session though. Adobe stole all of its artists' works to train its AI. Oh wow, interesting. Yeah, I've heard that there was like a change in their terms and conditions saying that they have like access, or I don't know, they can do whatever they want with the content that you create or something like that. It's pretty wild. Let me pull up MQ, see what NQ is up to. NQ is up here. Just consolidates, breaks out, consolidated, breakout, consolidating again here. Hi, way up there. How you doing? How you doing up there, NQ? NQ looks like it just wants to continue just close on the highs of the trading session. It's crazy. Look at that move on Qs. Holy macaronis. So the Qs upper weekly expected move was 487.35. We're basically there. So let me pull up that on TrendSpider. Okay. There's Qs. Outside of the daily expected move, just an explosive move. And we're not even far off the weekly there. Okay, SPY, once again, not too far off the weekly. 0-day levels. Are they changing at all? I mean, man, they're reaching out for 54. They're still going for 5,500. You see the increase here? Man, careful there. Yeah. That's wild. That'd be insane to take it up there today. Insane. So if that's going to be the case, I would actually prefer to see a little bit more of a pullback and then go. It's 10:40. We got a couple hours left, but this thing is just literally consolidating sideways. Like no stopping it. No stopping. Oh, you want to stop me? Too bad. Any gold or silver bugs? Yeah, there probably is. Let's take a look at gold. We'll look at the futures. Kind of just flagging out here on the daily time frame. Not the greatest look over here for gold. But overall, it's just kind of consolidating, right? Going sideways. Let's take a look at silver. I mean, these names they're holding up. So silver is kind of just flagging out, consolidating. I mean, it went on such a big run, so sometimes these consolidations could take place. Same with like miners, right? Miners did the same thing. I mean, it looks like, you know, if we're going to stay within this little channel, maybe it does bounce back up. Could be a potential play there, which would mean I would expect to keep a close eye on the dollar then, because if the dollar comes off, maybe that can help out a little bit more. You know, and the dollar just consolidating right here today. Yeah, this is all looking very strong still. I wouldn't fight it yet at all. This is just it's a trend day. That's trend days. We can literally close at the very high of the trading session. It's just how they work. Market net flow is strong. See if they're reaching a little bit more here. I mean, they started to, so 5,500, dude, 5,500 would be crazy. Still crazy, crazy, crazy. Let's see. Look at, they're going for it still. They want 5,500. That's crazy. Take me to 5,500 then. Do it, why not? Can you take me higher? I think it's time for me to get off this stream anyway. I'm tired. I'm tired. I need some air. Let's see here. They're actually going for 5,500. I wonder if they'll get paid out. Well, call wall still right now at 54.75 over here, so still a pullback into it would make sense, but NQ is just holding this market pretty strong right now, and they're starting to try to reach out a little bit further. Still, most attention's over here at 54.75, so still, I think I kind of still fit within the whole context of 54.75 pullback. Look for that as potential local support if it does come in. Fading it, it's just not my thing. Just not right now. It just doesn't make sense to. Thought that we could see a little bit of a setup. It did happen. It was very quick, which makes sense in these type of environments. But now I'd be more focused in on that 5,500 level. And if it takes us there, I'd be ready to then potentially execute at 5,500, because that would bring us to the upper weekly expected move, roughly down there, up there, to and around that area, which would be just an incredible, incredible move. See if Spike can get through this level. All right. I didn't even put my moon suit on today. We should hop in the rocket ship. You know what I'm saying? I need more water. I need more water. Water. Market net flow still very bullish. 545. 546. It's above that. Man, this thing is just crazy. Well, yeah, 5,500. Let's go. Let's go to 5,500. Take me to 5,500, why don't you? Holy moly. Let's go. Man, oh man. Boom, 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 boom. All right. Nice little breakout trade right there. Let's see if anything's changing here. Date. Look at. So we saw when it started growing, they're still growing it as the market's pressing itself higher. Holy macaroni. They want it. I guess it's an easy day to just take the market higher. Holy macaronis, man. I got to update my my account and just see where I'm at here. This is crazy. Yeah, this is wild. Yeah, I have that swing trade on. I'm gonna probably have to peel some here soon. If so, my thought here is now if we do get up into 5,500, I'm gonna be peeling more of my swing trades, updating the risk on all of those. That's crazy. I like it. I like it. And then let's see. I just want to check in on also see if anything here on semiconductors, if it's getting up there. It's not even far away, and now at this point, this is crazy. It's like a stone's throw from the weekly expected move, feels like. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. It's crazy. All right, so we feel that 550 liquidity in there. Now we're kind of just chopping through there. All right. I like it. That'd be. I just don't see like that'd be. No way, dude. No way is it gonna get to 5,500. That's crazy. We just there's some confidence coming in at that level. We've been watching this level grow. That's pretty crazy. It's crazy. We like crazy. Let's go nuts. It is nuts. It's crazy. It's great, dude. I mean, shoot, it feels like we're going to close at the highs of the day. Let's go ahead. Keep on coming. Let's go. Still have some supportive stuff underneath us. They're getting some overhead supply now. I don't really read too much into it yet. See. Still have some supportive bids underneath us, but they are starting to add some overhead supply. Like I said, I don't think that's really that big of a deal right now, is because I'm looking at market net flow for just the day, and it's a steamroller. It's a train. Try like stopping this train. It's crazy. 5,500. It's still not the main pin, but it's not far. It's not far. And tech's going to help us get there. It means like Google would probably have to really step itself up right now. Because Google, let's see if it is. Look at Google take off. So Google did take off out of this little consolidation. Okay. Apple. I mean, Apple's still doing pretty good today. Apple's flagging right now. So if Apple's just flagging here and it wants to start its another run up, that could be one. Nvidia's flat on the day, but look at it get tight here. So if Nvidia wants to fire off back into the opening range, that'll definitely be something that we would need happen for the bulls. Need Mara to squeeze. What's Mara? What's that? I mean, it seems pretty squeezy right here. It seems like it's moving. Oops. Let me go to maximize that. Yeah, Mara's been just chopping in this little range, trying to get in and out of it. Still holding up rather well, though. I mean, it's still doing its thing. Dun, 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 dun.
Amerigo, that's Alpha Romeo Golf in Canada. They're providing an update on heavy rains in Chile, saying it's limited production.
A limited
production. To date, no injuries or accidents reported by MVC personnel.
Highs of day for NQ, pretty much highs of day for the S&P 500. Market net flow still incredibly bullish, and then the still main call wall is at 54.75 for 0 date on S&P 500, but Traders. We're trying to still reach out to 5,500, so we'll see if they can do it. Still a stretch in my opinion, but fucking markets be marketing. Markets be marketing, man. What's crazy too is this is like just a straight up locked out rally. They ain't pulling back at all so far. Come on, we need people to start really reaching for 5,500. We need it to overtake this 54.75. I mean, if you want to be long, that is. If you're not, then I guess that's not what you want, but you should get my point. All right, let's take a look at Nvidia, because Nvidia is going to be a big one right now to watch. That little consolidation, man. If that breaks out and we start moving, this is going to be huge for NQ. All right, because we are still below the opening range for Nvidia, so the market's holding up rather well without it. Nvidia, I mean, it's up on the day, but it's underneath these opening ranges. So, and we're getting pretty darn tight right here. Okay. We'll need some Nvidia play to get to that 5,500, I think. Okay. Here's Nvidia. This is one to watch. Come on, Nvidia. Let's take a look at some of these comments here. Let's see. Q's going 500 before the end of the year. QGB built the trend line. I think everything's really participating actually in today's rally. If I go to the Market Watch tab, I mean, so we got Tesla leading up, which is the higher market cap name, and Apple. But look at we have 65 advancing stocks, 36 decliners. So this is a pretty broad-based rally today. Today's pretty strong. Okay, and then not only that, you look at market net flow today. It's like been bullish all day. All right, and traders they started reaching out to that. I'm just shocked. They really want it, but it's still not quite there yet. But they're trying to get to that 5,500. You can see it's trying to get there. It may. Once again, it's not a market you want to fight. The market net flow has been telling us that all day. There's opportunities every once in a while to do quick scalps to the downside, but you got to be very quick. You got to be absolutely quick. Just like here when we said it was going to get above and then potentially come back in. It did it, but it did it for like what, 1 second. It's like, congratulations. The easier trade is by far. Perfect. All right. I got to that 200 marker on one of my accounts there. So I'm going to close that out right there because that was the on Top Step. You want to hit that to count as one of the 30 days or whatever to get to 100% payouts, or you can take out 100% of your funds. So one of my accounts just did that just now.
The energy market, Brazil lobbying group saying the strike of Brazilian government workers overseeing oil and gas licenses has reduced Brazil's oil output by about 80,000 barrels per day.
Well, I'll be on the penny. Yeah. It's pretty wild, huh? It's funny how that works. All right, let's see here. Let's see it relax a little bit. It's not hardly relaxing. And all the volume here looks strong. Everything looks strong. It's like move, get out the way. All right, I got to check in on my portfolio again because this is just bonkers to me. Yeah. It's crazy, dude. Crazy. Was not expecting all of this. Oh, okay, so I want to check out CELH now. So did this start actually catch bid? NVIDIA is still pinned right here. We'll keep an eye on it. CELH actually started seeing a little bit of a bid. So my early morning position that I took, my additional is up a 1.5. But my original entry, it was a small position too, by the way, both of them, is down. So this is the counter trend move. Let me take a look at Beyond because I have a little position there. I'm green and Beyond off today's bounce so far. It's still in a horrible trend. So that SoFi call out was pretty good. SoFi is up like almost 2% since that call out. Somebody had asked me to bring up SoFi, and we were looking at these kind of counter trend potential moves, how we had positive divergences. That's up, over 1% or almost 2% since that call out. So thanks for bringing SoFi to the table. Oh yeah. So let me see here. Are we here? Are we almost there? Come on now. Make it happen, Cap'n. Make it happen, Cap'n.
Matthews MATW issuing a press release refuting allegations from Tesla.
Dude, no way it's going to not get to 5,500 now at this point. It's too close, man. It's too close. The market wants it there. That's wild, man. It is just a rip roaring trend day. Just buy, let it go up, clip some profits. Is what it is. I was planning on getting off a lot earlier today, but it's just like I'm just staying focused because it keeps on setting up for these little moves, and I'm just keep on scalping in and out. It's just quick little entries here and there for the intraday stuff, and then my long-term portfolio, my swing trading one, I want to start actually executing if it starts getting up to 5,500. It's crazy. Once again, crazy. Weekly expected move on day one would be pristine. And I would really like to see the semiconductor. Oh my gosh, look at it go. Come on, pump. 10 points. 10 points away. Come on now. Don't be reversing that. Just get up there. Watch it fail. Yeah, it might. Who knows? Like nothing is suggesting that it would fail right now, but things change quick. Yeah, 2 Sigma. Oh man, we're already on the 2 Sigma daily move for the S&P 500. Come on, we can push through that. It's okay. So there's a higher probability that we close there. So my thought is there on that Moonraker is that still because I still am not interested in fighting the market, but if we do get to 5,500, I would say, okay, now I might look to try to play into that 2 Sigma move. I'd feel a little bit more confident then. Or at least start mitigating some of my other stuff here. And potentially even look to, I just want to see semiconductors again, see if it's up there yet. Gosh, it's a little far off, but man, if semiconductors can reach up to the weekly expected move, that is just insane. Come on now. Come on, guys. Get us up there a little bit more. Don't consolidate and then go and close up there at the highs of the trading session. I would hate that. I want a straight shot to 5,500. It's been good so far. Straight shot. Then let's have some fun. Sitting and waiting. I want just a straight shot, and then I want the consolidation. Because I feel like I can actually fade it if I get a straight shot into 5,500. Because right now it's like, okay, I can take a trade in MNQ or maybe SPY and probably just play it into there, or ES or something like that for intraday. But I would prefer to fade it back through 5,500 because there are some pretty aggressive moves when it hits those levels. It might, but not. So it would pin, in my opinion. So it might pin more if it consolidates up into that level. But if it's a straight shot, just like it was at like 54.50, right? It was a straight shot in there and it just reversed itself. Not to say that you can't be right. I mean, it could definitely pin itself. That's for sure. But if I'm just looking for a quick, so more context on that, more context on the reason why I'm saying that is because I'm like a few bucks from just getting into the $200. You know, Moonraker, how Top Step works, how you have to get those 200 days or whatever, up to 30 of them or whatever, and then you could do all your stuff. I'm like a few bucks from that on my other account. I just hit it on one of them, and now I have the other ones that I'm trading 2 accounts today, but. Don't do that, you punk. Yeah, it's probably going to consolidate. There. That was quite a bit of volume there. Let it do its thing. Yeah, look at all this stuff step in here. Yeah, let it do its thing. Little punk. Maybe that was a little quick little pullback. We'll see. 5,500 still there. It's still on sights. Man, oh man. Yo, it's crazy. Oh man. Yeah, it's probably. I'll look at the daily volume and stuff, see where we're at. These like low volume type of days, this is where you can get squeezes. Low, so if there's not much going on in the markets, right? These are days you can move the market very, very easily. Not us particularly, but they move. They can trend very easily. It doesn't take much to get these markets going. Just look at SPY. Yeah, that's a pretty lackluster volume so far. But it was a nice little 3-day consolidation and some follow through. And then we're coming up into that 550 level. And then the RSI is getting pretty crisp, or to a crisp here, very frothy, very bullish here still with the price momentum oscillator. Come on, man, just push a little bit more. Don't give me this. I don't want to get, I'm ready just to make the move and go. I need some air. Oh yeah, let's take a look at NVIDIA. What did that end up doing? Well, it started breaking out. Little fake out, shake out. These are very common. So we'll see here how it resolves itself. Breaks out, fakes people out, gets people stopped out. Let's see if it turns back around. Isn't that just fun? Isn't that just fun? Sometimes you get very clean moves. Other times, this is more common. Right, you get these fake out moves. So you got to just be really, really good at managing risk because you shouldn't let it bug you. You get out, and then if it sets back up, you can always get back in. Try it a couple of times. You go from there. But right now, it's like a little bit of a bear trap, right? And then it's starting to sell off. Doesn't mean that it can't come right back up, right? This is just, we're just utilizing this technical asset as a tool for managing risk. Yeah, they do, man. There's 2 sigma moves. So this 2 sigma move for anybody that's paying attention or that wants to know, the 2 sigma move for the S&P 500. That's what Moonraker's talking about. The SPY 2 sigma move was 548.52. So let's go into that and I'll show you, and we'll look at the SPX too. I'll draw a line right here. Okay, so I'll make it pink. So it was 542. Wait, what did I say it was? 548. 52. Damn it. 548.52. There we go. So this was the 2 sigma level. Right there. So we're talking, so this helps us with probabilities, right? Like, okay, it coincidentally came in reverse right there. Why? Because it's 2 standard deviation move, right? So in terms of a distribution curve, if you think of it as 1 standard deviation, right, we'll finish within 68% of the time within that 1 standard deviation move, which right today was 545 and then 539. So this would be the probability of staying there. Now, if it goes 2 standard deviation move, we're looking at a 95% probability that we close below that line. And then the lower line was what? Let me clone this. Was 537.04. Okay. So there'd be a 95% probability that we close between these pink lines. That's just, if you're thinking of terms of like probabilities, like that means when we get outside of a 2 standard deviation move, what he's pointing out here is you have a higher probability of coming back in. The reason why I'm not ready to short or like take profits or whatever at the 2 standard deviation move is because we're so close to the weekly expected move, right? And market net flow is pretty positive and so forth. And I would like to typically get outside of it because then the higher probability is that we come back in. So the unfortunate thing is you miss more of those, and they're more rare moves, right? 2 sigma moves don't happen frequently, right? It's a small, like 5% of the time, right? If you're thinking in terms of probabilities. You're getting outside of it. But there was a pretty big reversal from that level. Pretty spot on. All right, the high was 548.53. In the 2 standards was 548.52. So we're talking 1 cent on a $500 plus product. It's pretty crazy. Right? Pretty wild, huh? For those that don't know, I share those levels just on my daily stock market briefs most of the time for SPY, and then also just on the daily expected move tab in the Discord stuff. All right, we're consolidating it now. Can we still reach up? Definitely a possibility. I don't know if I'm going to stick around now, though. I'm going to carry on with the day. Oh, sheesh, dude. Look at this, 5,500. That is the call wall right now. They went for it. Here you go. There's 5,500. They want it. Will they get there, though? It's a whole different topic. But clearly, they're still going for it. They're like, I guess the market pulled in a little bit, and they're like, okay, now go for it. It's a better deal. Right now, we're just reversing. Not by much. It's coming in a little bit. Makes sense. We got about 12 minutes left for this 30-minute candle to form over here. This is for S&P 500. I'm not in a trade, am I? No, I'm not in a trade. I'm good. I'm good. Well, day trade. Swing trade, yes, I have swing trades on. The second I get up, yeah, I know. As soon as I leave, it'll something will happen. It's my just the story of my life. I'm really interested in putting on some sort of a position for semis, like SOX, but I would prefer it to be more higher. So if I get some sort of a short position on some overextension stuff, at least I'd be able to add more into my longs on things that's set up. And if the market comes in, I'll have that little position kind of just, as a backup trade. just ain't there yet. If I only had some portable device like an iPad. You hella trying to get me to buy an iPad. I have an iPad. I use it all the time. It's an expensive way to watch television. No, I use it, but I don't use it to its extent of like what I could use it for, you know? There's so many cool things you can do. That's why you buy 3 of them, Moonraker. Just one. Technically, I have 2, but one's my wife's. That's never used. Did you get the new iPad, by the way? Is it the like super thin one? You gotta let me know how that goes. Like my bigger, thicker one already bent a little bit. Like very small. Works fine, but it discolored it a little bit in the center. I was just wondering maybe if that like was a little freaky for the thin ones. Yeah. Is it like, I'm just afraid to like bend it. You just be careful. But I've stepped on my iPad. I've sat on it on accident. I guess you just gotta be careful. Not be a clumsy person like me. It makes the mini feel like a brick. That's cool. That's what's up. Is the VIX spacing? Maybe, Colby. I'm not too sure. You're not a clumsy person? I am. All right, so we have some supportive bids coming here, right over here on ES. We'll see if that can hold, and maybe this was a little pullback. Still consolidating. If it takes it out, then obviously we can have some more sell side. We'll have more volume come in, but that's going on right now. Okay. So you want this to hold.
White House is Kirby saying we are troubled by the deepening relationship between Russia and North Korea.
As this is moving up, it's kind of clear blue over here, so you'd like to see these step up, right? They're kind of stepping up right here.
The outgoing CEO
But pulling back in, you want to continue to see this move up.
Culture. I think it's far from perfect in a report citing.
All right, this blue area right here, it can be quick little, you know, you get these little moves up and they're like, yeah, it's coming, and then it comes right back in, right? Because there's no like, it just basically buyers running up to where there are sellers, and then sellers slam it back down. So you saw a little bit of a move here, right? Lifted the price action up. Now we'll see if it somewhat kind of continue that kind of move. So if I look at something like this, so now if I look at the absolute perspective, right? Little consolidation, you technically would want it to take out 240 right around here, okay? 240. That was I'm looking at ES here, but that was NQ that I just showed you. Okay. You even have an iPhone case and it never scratched? That's pretty good. I have an iPhone case on my iPhone, dude. It's all torn to shreds. There's some news around Affirm and Apple. Let me see here. What's going on there? Affirm. It had to do with Apple Pay, but they stated that as a potential.
On this expected testimony from outgoing CEO Calhoun of Boeing, likely to tell Congress.
Could be one to
they're
watch.
taking
I'm
comprehensive
still
action to
focusing on the
strengthen
markets for the
safety
day.
and quality.
All right, see here, MNQ, it's getting tight right here. You can see lower high, higher low. Some might look at this as a bearish little flag, but it's in bullish context, so just see how it resolves. It's kind of an either or sort of situation. All right, let me draw that out again. Getting pretty tight here, pretty tight here. Okay. If it expands to the downside, you just like measure, move it, probably just right around here. Probably back into this little realm over here. We'll see what it does, or see how it can resolve itself. the idea would be that it breaks out to the upside, but that's given the context of market net flow, but it has ran far and fast, so we'll see here if we can do it. Be looking for over 237.50 maybe on NQ, 237.50 maybe, right around there. Can break that. Okay. By the way, this is only 30-second time frame here, so it's very small structure. You get a lot more fake outs on smaller time frames.
So for Boeing, seeing a separate report that GE Aerospace CEO
Thanks for the subscription there.
declined an
Docker.
approach from Boeing.
Subscription to
take
YouTube.
over
Thanks, William, also
as
for
the
subscribing to
leader
YouTube
of
too.
Boeing. Bravo Alpha. A little volatility in shares of both GE
Little
and
pretend bear
Boeing
flag trying to trap
following
you.
this report.
Is hope for a retrace to the 198 area, but you know, there's a that's interesting, Joe. Yeah, I think we're kind of, I don't know how long you've been in the chat or in the stream for, but I've kind of in the same. Let me think. Apple discontinued Apple Pay ahead of the new feature launching this fall. Affirm. Thanks, Daryl, for posting that. I thought I saw something there. Heard something. Let me see here. So you just mentioned 198 on IWM. Yeah. By the way, IWM is back at that declining 5-day moving average. And the thought process for me was actually this level back up to around here, this 201, 202. Just because it seems like a level of interest. It gets extended from it, comes in. It gets extended from it, comes in. Extended from it, comes in. Extended from it, comes back in. It's kind of been that like pinning area for the market. Pretty nice day so far right now for IWM. Oh yeah, so this right here, what are we doing? We kind of broke out of it to the upside.
Further details on this Boeing report saying that Boeing
I'll just draw
has been rejected by several high-profile candidates that they touched base with about possibly taking the CEO job.
Still underneath the 2 standard deviation move. Let's see here if anything's changed. 5,500 is the focus. And then marking net flow, still pretty darn positive. Kind of just chopping around for NQ though. Let's see back up in NVIDIA. We need NVIDIA to participate. It'd be a lot better if NVIDIA can participate here. It's getting pretty tight here too as well. So if NVIDIA kind of recoups, gets back above this.
Apple reportedly going to be ending their in-house Apple Pay Later installment service. No longer will offer new Apple Pay Later loans to users. This is after announcing the Affirm installment integration last week, if you recall. Alpha Franklin Romeo Michael moving higher.
Affirm is still moving. Yeah, Affirm. Yeah, Affirm is cranking now.
And
Look
on
at
the
that.
11th of June, Apple's announced that Affirm's payment products are
Here we
expected to be
go.
available on Apple Pay users later this year.
Firm's really moving. You know, Affirm's weekly time frame looks pretty good too. I mean, if it can recoup some of these levels, but talk about a big consolidation here on the weekly time frame. And if you zoom out further, right, like see how it went sideways for a while, and then we started breaking, getting above, and the moving averages started turning up. Then it got up, kind of over ahead of itself, and now we're pulling back into these levels, kind of maybe making a U-turn, and maybe the MACD can turn around, and we could have more of a bullish crossover. So if this is the case, I mean, we're talking back up to 52. And retesting these levels for Affirm. You know? I mean, it might not be a straight shot, but if that is the case, I mean, that's a big gain, right? That's a 67% gain in Affirm on the weekly time frame. So if we're looking for longer term, you have a very clear like low here and you're right here. This would be the risk to potentially play it up and potentially catch a stage 2 markup trade, right? Accumulation, right? Stage 1, stage 2. This could be the bigger pullback on the start of a markup phase. Just saying, right? Just saying. Then you might look at this even longer term and you might be like, well, dude, it's a big rounding pattern, or a, what do they call this? Inverse head and shoulder. Or this would be, the right shoulder. And if that's the case, then you're looking at a measured move would be up to 95, which would be what? Like that would be a 200% gainer. I'm just saying that, a measured move is just a technical measurement. There's no predictive power in that other than lines on my screen, but that would be a technical measured move, is an idea for how to calculate risk for a firm on the weekly time frame. Pretty crazy, right? It's crazy now, but I mean, it's really not that crazy. Like you can look back in like years from now and you might be up 200% and be like, oh yeah, I remember that. The unfortunate thing is you got to understand that it can go through drawdowns of like 30%, 10, 20%, 10%, 15%, just to get there into that range, which is normal. Like think of NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA's had multiple 70% drawdowns, 50% drawdowns and so forth, and it's where it's at now. Whether you hold that or not depends on your position sizing. If you're over leveraged on a position, it's way too hard to hold that kind of stuff. Unless it's over leveraged by meaning compared to like what you have, right? So if it's like in your portfolio, if it's over leveraged, but it's really not a lot of money, right? So if you're a millionaire and all you're doing is trading a $10,000 position, but that's your account, you only have a $10,000 trading account, you probably don't care, right? But that would be considered over leveraged in that specific portfolio. But overall net worth, it'd be like whatever. It don't matter. Benny's. Still looking to see if NVIDIA can catch a little bit of a move. It's not, so that's kind of concerning. Not yet. Here we go. Maybe it's now. Getting ready. All right, NVIDIA, it's tightening up again. All right, let's see what we can do, NVIDIA. Let's see what we can do, buddy. Sizzle index shows you like, if it's like a 5.0 reading or 2.0 reading, it's saying it's changing two times the options volume in the last versus the last 5 days. So higher the reading, the more the volume. All right, we're kind of running into this little 55.60 area, quite a bit of supply overhead. So, if you're bullish, you'd want to get this cleared up, go. Right now, we're kind of just being hung up there. I think NVIDIA would be the helping hand still if we can get NVIDIA to break that for us. All right. NVIDIA popped through this, saw that volume, right? We contracted, boom, now we're consolidating that. The consolidation is taking place on lower volume, so that's a good sign. Come on, NVIDIA. Once we got super tight, we broke out. We came back in, shook people out. Now we got really tight again. Now we're starting to try to reset up. This is, so when I say like when you just get out and just let it go, this is what I mean by this. And if it resets up, you can potentially look to go. So it's, in my opinion, this would be kind of resetting up. So let me remove this little line, clear it up for you. So if I look at this now, I'm like, activate it. And now it's, I would say it's just still setting up here, right? Like that, sort of, right? Boom. Upstart. I mean, this looks to me like SoFi. Like a lot of these like names, they got beaten down and now they're starting to potentially getting ready for a little bit of a bounce. But overall, the trends are pretty bearish, right? So pretty extreme selling there. And to see bounces from these levels makes sense, right? So like look at SoFi, right? Somebody pointed that out earlier too, right? It's the same thing, kind of look, daily, right? We saw like a couple of days, like 3 days down pretty hard. Affirm, right? Now it's getting some news. Right? 3 days down pretty hard after a gap up, and now we're starting to try to little bounce here. So a lot of these names are kind of moving hand in hand right now. So I think, yeah, bounce is likely, but so we got to be cautious on them. So SoFi, that'll change if we start breaking up through this 5560, but right now it's kind of just on pause. And I think that's probably where I probably quit the stream. Closing out for the day, ladies and gentlemen. I think the idea of the market's